Introduction. Welcome to the waiting room. The necessary friction and the tyranny of density. You have opened your eyes. You have completed the rewrite of your source code. In the privacy of your mind, you are no longer the same person who started this journey. You have killed the victim, designed the avatar, and felt with bone-deep certainty that you are the creator of your reality. You stand up full of new power, ready to see your kingdom unfold. You look out the window expecting the landscape to be transformed. You wait to see the new car, the ideal partner, the overflowing bank account. But what you see is exactly the same as it was yesterday. The same old car with the dented bumper, the same silent house, the same worrying balance in the bank. And in that precise moment, you feel the blow. It is a dull, disappointing, cold blow. It is the slap of matter. Your mind flies at light speed, but your reality crawls at the speed of geology. That gap, that unbearable abyss between what you know you are inside and what your eyes see outside, is the territory we will explore in this book. Welcome to the mechanics of the echo. Welcome to the interface. Welcome to the waiting room. The illusion of immobility. Most spiritual seekers die here. They survive the dark night of the soul. They survive the deconstruction of their identity, but they do not survive the wait. They interpret the lack of immediate change as a failure. They say, "I changed my vibration, but the world hasn't. This doesn't work." And they quit, right when the foundations were setting. This book exists to save you from that calculation error. You need to understand a fundamental physical truth. You live in a dense universe. 3D reality is not fluid like dreams or the astral plane. It is viscous and heavy. Moving a thought is instant. It's like moving a cursor of light on a screen. Moving matter, which is condensed, frozen energy, is like moving an ocean liner in a sea of molasses. When you turn the wheel, your identity shift, the ship doesn't turn instantly. It keeps moving forward for miles. If you look overboard during those miles of transition, you will swear you haven't turned. But engineering tells you otherwise. The rudder is turned. Hydraulic pressure is acting. The propellers are changing the thrust vector. The turn is inevitable. But the delay is physical. The mercy of time, the buffer. Your ego hates this delay. It calls it torture. The consciousness engineer calls it a safety buffer. Imagine for a moment living in a universe of instant manifestation, a universe where time did not exist as a mediator, where every single thought became matter instantly. It would be the apocalypse in minutes. You'd have a fleeting thought of fear, what if I have a heart attack? And you'd drop dead a second later. You'd have a moment of anger, I wish you'd disappear, and that person would vanish. A pink elephant would crush your living room furniture. Time, that delay that frustrates you so much, is actually your greatest protector. It acts as a quality filter. The universe says, you asked to be a millionaire. Fine. It'll wait a bit to see if you're serious. Is this a sustained identity or just a 5-minute whim? The buffer allows erratic thoughts and passing fears to dissolve before they crystallize. Only that which you hold with persistence, faith, and vibrational coherence manages to pierce the density of the buffer and solidify into reality. The waiting room is a order validation period. The physics of the echo. Why do we call this book The Mechanics of the Echo? Because the reality you are living today is not reality. It is the echo of your past. Imagine you are standing in front of a giant canyon. For years, you have been screaming, "I am poor. I am alone." The echo has been returning to you, poor and alone. Today you decide to change. You stand at the edge and scream with all your might, "I am abundant." But for the following seconds or weeks, the sound reaching your ears is still the bounce of the old screams. You still hear "poor alone." The air is still full of the old sound waves traveling back. The novice gets scared. They think, "I screamed abundance, but I hear poverty. My scream isn't working." And they scream poverty again out of desperation, restarting the cycle. The master understands acoustic physics. He knows the new echo, abundant, has already left his mouth. It is traveling toward the canyon wall. It will hit, and it will return. It is a mathematical certainty. So the master hears the old echo of poverty, smiles, and ignores it. He knows it is dead sound, residual noise. He does not react to the echo. He holds his new scream until the air clears and the new acoustics dominate the valley. Would you like me to explain how to specifically recognize which parts of your current life are dead echoes and which are new manifestations starting to form? Chapter 1, The Theory of the Echo. Reality is a delayed broadcast and the dead star trap. The astrophysics of your life and the error of immediacy. Imagine walking into your garden on a clear night. You look up and marvel at the spectacle of the Milky Way. You see thousands of points of light shimmering in the dark. Sirius, Betelgeuse, the North Star. You feel like you are having a real-time experience. You believe you are seeing the universe exactly as it is right now. But any astrophysicist will correct you with a condescending smile. What you are seeing does not exist. The light from those stars has taken years, centuries, or millennia to travel through the vacuum of space to hit your retina. The light of the star you see now left its source when the pharaohs were building the pyramids. It is very likely that the star has already exploded. Perhaps it no longer exists. Perhaps it has become a black hole. But you still see it shining. To your eyes, the star is real. To physics, the star is a ghost. You are watching a delayed broadcast. You are seeing the past disguised as the present. Welcome to the most destabilizing and liberating concept of the mechanics of the echo. Your physical reality works exactly like the night sky. Everything you see around you at this precise moment, your bank balance, your partner's behavior, your weight on the scale, the crisis in the news is not the present. It is the light of a dead star. It is the physical manifestation, light, of a vibrational emission star that you generated in the past. That bill in your hand was not created today. It was created 3 months or 3 years ago when you were living in a state of victimhood or scarcity. That conflict with your boss is not new. It is the echo of your judgments and fears from last week finally reaching the shore of matter today. The tragic error of human beings, and the reason 99% of the population lives trapped in a loop of karmic repetition, is that they confuse the echo with the voice. They believe what they see today is the current truth. And because they believe it, they react to it. You look at a bank account at zero, echo of the past, and scream in terror, "I have no money." By screaming, "I have no money," with fresh emotion today, you are lighting a new star of scarcity in your internal universe. That new star will emit its light and travel through space-time. And when will it arrive? In a few months. Just when you had forgotten, boom! Another financial crisis. And you will say, "See, I have bad luck." No. You have poor temporal hygiene. You are reacting to the past, and in doing so you are recycling it into the future. You are a dog chasing its own tail, furious because the tail moves, without understanding that you are the one wagging it. Density as a recording medium. To understand why this delay occurs, we must talk about the viscosity of the medium. In Book 1, you worked on the mental plane. The mind is a low viscosity medium. It is like air. If you move your hand in the air moves instantly. Thought is instantaneous. You change your mind in a nanosecond. But now we are in Book 2. We are in matter, the interface. Matter is a high viscosity medium. It is like cold tar or wet concrete. If you try to move your hand inside a tank of tar, you cannot do it quickly. There is resistance, there is drag. When you imprint a shape into wet concrete, a sustained thought, the concrete takes time to harden, but once it hardens, it stays there. It is hard to break. Your current reality is concrete that has already dried. Your thoughts from a year ago are the architects who poured that concrete. Now you arrive with your new self, Avatar 2.0. Look at the ugly concrete wall and say, "But I am abundant now. Why do I still see this ugly wall? Because the wall is old." And the new concrete you are pouring today, your thoughts of abundance, is still wet and has not yet become structurally visible. This is where the theory of the echo comes in. Imagine you are in a gigantic canyon in the mountains. The canyon is 3D reality. You are at the edge. For 10 years, you have been screaming into the canyon, "I am a failure. Life is hard." The echo, faithful to the laws of acoustics, has returned to you. Failure, hard, failure, hard. Suddenly you wake up. You read Book 1. You change your identity. You stand at the edge of the canyon, take a deep breath, and scream with a new, powerful voice, "I am powerful. Life is magical." Your voice leaves your throat. The sound wave travels. But during the following seconds, which in lifetime can be weeks, it's what do you hear? Do you hear "I am powerful" immediately? No. The air in the canyon is still full of the old sound waves that are bouncing and returning. Just after screaming "I am powerful," the echo returns to you. Failure. Hard. It is the remnant. It is the tail of the old comet. The spiritual novice hears that old echo right after making their positive affirmation and collapses. They think it doesn't work. I screamed power and the universe tells me failure. I've fooled myself. This is a scam. And disappointed, they bow their head and whisper, "Oh well, I'm delusional." Fatal error. By whispering "I'm delusional," you have launched a new order into the canyon. You have cancelled the order of power that was traveling and confirmed the old order. The canyon says, "Received. We continue with the failure program." The master of the interface does something radically different. They scream "I am powerful." The echo returns, "Failure." The master smiles. They are unfazed. They are not disappointed. They understand the physics. They know that the failure they hear is dead sound. It is an old audio file that is being purged. It is like opening the hot water tap in a house where the pipes are full of stagnant cold water. At first, cold, dirty water comes out. Do you close the tap because it doesn't come out hot instantly? No, you let the water run. You wait. You know the hot water is coming behind it, pushing the cold water out. The master hears the echo of failure and says, "I hear you, but I don't believe you. You are ancient history. I know what I just screamed, and I know my new scream is on its way, sweeping everything in its path." They hold the position. They keep screaming power while hearing failure, until inevitably the air clears, the old waves dissipate, and suddenly the canyon responds, "Powerful, magical, powerful." Reality has changed. The printing press and yesterday's newspaper, another metaphor to understand the stupidity of reacting to the present. Imagine that reality is a newspaper that is printed every morning and arrives at your door. The newspaper is called The Diary of Your Life. Today's headlines, "Your partner left you, you owe money, your back hurts," were written by the reporters, your thoughts, emotions, yesterday. The printing press, the subconscious, worked all night to print millions of physical copies of those thoughts. You wake up, pick up the paper, read "You owe money" and get angry. You grab a red pen and start furiously crossing out the headline on the paper. You write, "I owe nothing" over it. You tear the paper, you burn it. Does that change the news? No. Does it change tomorrow's edition? No. In fact, by getting angry today, you have sent the reporters to write a headline for tomorrow that says, "The subject is furious and still owes money." You cannot change the news by fighting the paper, the echo matter. The paper is already printed. It is a fait accompli. It is a corpse. To change the news, you have to ignore today's newspaper, use it to wrap fish, literally strip it of value, and go to the newsroom. You have to sit with the reporters and dictate tomorrow's headline, while today's newspaper says the opposite on the table. You must have the coldness to dictate. Headline: "Massive income received," while your physical eyes see the "insufficient funds" letter. This controlled schizophrenia is the mark of the creator. You must live in two times at once. One, physically, you manage the echo, pay bills, wash dishes, handle the crisis, with mechanical neutrality. Two, mentally, you inhabit the source, the new scream. Never mix the two. If you allow the echo to contaminate the source, if you let the bill depress you, you contaminate the future emission. The sensory evidence trap. Your senses, sight, hearing, touch, are survival tools for the physical world. They are excellent for telling you if a tiger is coming or if fire burns. But they are terrible quantum navigation tools. Your senses can only perceive what has already collapsed. They can only see the past. They cannot see the probability wave that is on its way. If you navigate your life based only on what your eyes see, you are driving while looking through the rear-view mirror. You will crash. Society calls you crazy if you ignore your senses. Be realistic, they tell you. Look at the facts. The facts are the ash trail of a fire that has already burned out. The consciousness engineer respects facts as historical data, but denies them authority as predictors of the future. The current fact says, "You are sick." The engineer says, "Data received." That is the current state of the tissue, echo. I proceed to emit the signal of perfect health, to reconfigure the future tissue. They do not deny the symptom, take the medicine, but they deny the prognosis, the fatality. The acoustic indifference protocol and delayed living. Now you understand that fighting your current reality is as useless as fighting a photograph from 10 years ago. The photo is not going to change because you scream at it. It was already developed. The only intelligent strategy is to let the photo turn yellow and fade away while you are busy taking new photos. But the echo is loud. The echo hurts. The echo has bills that are due today. How do we operate in the interface without being dragged down by the gravity of the past? We need a reality waste management system. The labeling technique, old data. Your brain is designed to solve present problems. When it sees a threat, the negative echo, it activates the emergency alarm and hijacks your attention. To avoid this, you need to hack the label your brain puts on the event. Instead of labeling it current danger, you must relabel it historical residue. The protocol. Every time you encounter a circumstance you don't like, an argument, a red number, a pain, 1. Stop. Do not react automatically. 2. Look at the event or situation. 3. Say mentally or out loud, "This is old data," or "This is dead starlight." 4. Add, "This is the impression of my consciousness from X months ago. It has nothing to do with who I am today. I let it pass." By doing this, you create a temporal dissociation. You separate yourself from the event. It is no longer your life now. It is your past history. You strip it of its sense of urgency. If you receive a letter from a boyfriend you broke up with 5 years ago insulting you, does it affect you? No. You think, "How old this is, it has nothing to do with me anymore," and you throw it away, treat your current problems with that same distance. They are letters from a dead ex-self. The laggy gamer mode. Imagine you are playing an online game and you have a terrible connection. There is lag delay. You move the joystick to the right, but the character on the screen takes 3 seconds to move. If you are a novice player, you get frustrated. You move the joystick frantically in all directions. The character ends up crashing against the wall. If you are an expert player, you understand the lag. You make the move on the controller cause and wait calmly for the screen to respond. Effect. You don't doubt that the character will move. You know the signal has been sent. You simply give the processor time. Living in the interface requires you to adopt this laggy gamer mentality. You do your internal work, visualization, feeling in the morning. You look at the screen of reality. It's not moving. Relax. It's the lag. Don't pound the controller. Don't doubt your input. Keep walking with the certainty that reality is reconfiguring itself behind the curtain to match your command. Patience here is not passivity. It is technical understanding. You know how the server works. You know it's loading. You cancel anxiety because you understand the mechanics. The external validation diet. The echo feeds on your attention. If every morning you wake up and run to check if it has changed yet, you are feeding the echo. It is like the gardener who digs up the seed every day to see if it has roots. It kills it. You have to go on a validation diet. Stop looking out there to confirm the in here. If you feel rich in your meditation, and then look at your bank to see if it worked, you have just killed the wealth. Because by looking with doubt, will it be there? You are emitting doubt, and the echo will respond with absence. You have to reach the point of spiritual arrogance where your internal vision is more real to you than the external world. Where you say, "I don't care what the bank says. I know what I have created. If the bank doesn't reflect it today, it's the bank's problem, the echo's, not mine. The bank will update. I'm in no hurry." That indifference is magnetic. The actor on the stage. Shakespeare said, "All the world's a stage and all the men and women merely players." This is the best strategy for dealing with people who bring you the echo, arguing partners, tyrant bosses. Look at them as hired actors. They have a script that you wrote months ago, with your past fears and judgments. They are reciting their lines perfectly. If your boss screams at you, don't get angry with him. Think, "Wow, what a great performance. He is perfectly playing the tyrant role I assigned him with my fears from a month ago. Bravo. But I have already rewritten the script. Soon, He will have to change roles or leave the play. Don't take anything personally. They are projections. They are holograms responding to old data. If you fight the actor, you give reality to the role. If you ignore it and change the script in your dressing room, mind, the actor will change or disappear. The concept of the purge. Sometimes when you change your vibration, the echo temporarily becomes stronger and more chaotic. This is the phenomenon of the purge or the healing crisis. Just as when you go on a detox diet, your skin might break out because you are expelling toxins. When you change your consciousness, your reality expels the old patterns. Suddenly, everything breaks. The echo screams louder just before dying. It is the swan song of your old reality. If right after deciding to be abundant, a giant bill arrives, celebrate. It is the toxin leaving. It is the last residue of scarcity materializing in order to go away. Say goodbye to it with love. Thank you for coming out. Goodbye forever. Don't say, oh no, this is getting worse. Say, this is being cleaned. The chaos is the sign of the restructuring. The discipline of silence, not telling the dream. The echo is very socially contagious. If you are trying to ignore the echo and build a new reality, but you go and tell your friend who lives in the echo your plans, your friend who only sees the echo will tell you, you're crazy. Look at the facts. Be realistic. You have no money. He will use the echo to hit you and his doubt will add to yours. That is why hermeticism is vital. Do not tell your visualizations to anyone who is not on the same frequency. Protect your new reality from the eyes of those who only see the old one. Live your new life in secret within yourself, while on the outside, you act normally. Be a double agent. Show one face to the world, fulfilling what is necessary, but keep your loyalty to your secret homeland, your desire fulfilled. Chapter 2. The Identity Algorithm. You don't attract what you want, you print what you are. The physics of the reflection and the syntax error of desire. If in the introduction we established that you live in a holographic simulation and that reality is a user interface, now we must address the exact mechanism that decides what appears on your screen. Most people operate under a metaphysical superstition. They believe the universe is a paternalistic entity that listens to their pleas or their verbal thoughts. They believe that if they ask with enough force, or if they make a vision board with photos of sports cars, the great system administrator will take pity and grant their wish. This is the most expensive miscalculation of your life. The universe is not a father. The universe is not a genie in a lamp. The universe is a quantum 3D printer. And a printer does not judge what it prints. It has no morals. It does not decide if the file you send it is good or bad, whether it is a work of art or a destructive virus. The printer simply receives the data file and renders it into physical matter with absolute fidelity. The problem is that you spend your life shouting at the printer, I want to print money, I want to print love, while the file loaded in your internal operating system, your identity, contains the source code for scarcity and loneliness. The printer ignores your shouts, your conscious desires, and prints your code, your subconscious identity. The iron law output by input. In software engineering, there is an unbreakable principle. The system can only return output what has been entered into it, input. In the engineering of your life, the rule is identical. Your reality, output, is an exact match of your identity, input. Here lies the great paradox that destroys the average spiritual seeker. The act of wanting or desiring something is, in terms of code, a confirmation of its absence. Let's analyze the vibrational syntax of the phrase, I want to be rich. When you emit the I want signal, you are implicitly declaring, right now I do not have. Desire is born from lack. One only desires what one does not possess. Therefore, the dominant frequency you are emitting to the quantum field is not the frequency of wealth, but the frequency of the need for wealth. The universe, acting as that faithful mirror or user interface we mentioned, receives the need signal and obediently renders more situations that make you feel need. It gives you more bills. It gives you unexpected expenses. It keeps you in the state of wanting, because that is what you are. You are a wanting, you are not a having. You have been trying to hack the mirror by combing your reflection. You look in the mirror, see a disheveled person, poverty, illness, and reach your hands toward the glass trying to move the reflection's hair. You get frustrated because the reflection doesn't change. The only physical, logical, and technical way to change the reflection is to comb yourself. You must change the origin, not the projection. As we said, you are the projector. The movie is your life. If the movie is sad, there is no use shouting at the screen. You have to go to the booth and change the film roll. That roll is your identity algorithm. The invisible barcode. Imagine that every human walks through the world with an invisible barcode tattooed on their forehead. You can dress in expensive suits. You can force a smile. You can repeat positive affirmations in front of the mirror like a parrot. I am abundant. I am abundant. But the reality scanner, the quantum field, does not read your clothes, nor your words, nor your social masks. The scanner reads your energetic signature. It reads the barcode. And if your barcode etched deep within your Victim 1.0 operating system says, I am unworthy, I am small, I am afraid, life is a struggle, the scanner will read that. And the matrix will deliver the exact experience that corresponds to that code: struggle, smallness, and fear. This explains why good people suffer, and why people you might consider selfish or arrogant sometimes succeed spectacularly. The universe does not reward moral goodness, according to your human standards. The universe rewards identity coherence. The successful egoist has a coherent internal identity. I am the best, I deserve everything, the money is mine. His barcode says success, and reality prints it. You who are perhaps noble and self-sacrificing have an internal identity that says, money is dirty, I have to sacrifice myself to be worthy, suffering makes me noble. Your barcode says sacrifice, and reality prints it. It is fluid mechanics, not poetic justice. The master command, I am. In programming, there are high-level languages and low-level languages, machine code. In reality, the machine code language, the one that speaks directly to the matrix of creation, is the command I am. Everything you add after these two words is not a description. It is a compilation instruction. It is a mandate of creation. I am clumsy. The system receives the order. It adjusts your nervous system to reduce your motor coordination. You trip. Reality confirms your identity. I am sickly. The system receives the order. It depresses your immune system. You lower your defenses. You catch the virus. Reality confirms your identity. I am poor. The system receives the order. It creates a blind spot in your perception so that you don't see the business opportunities in front of you. It makes you lose money. Reality confirms your identity. The problem is that most of your I am code was written when you were under 7 years old, in that state of theta waves we talked about. Your parents, your teachers, your culture wrote the lines of code for you. You are a mess. You are slow. Money is hard to earn. Life is hard. Those sentences became while-true loops running in the background, consuming your RAM and dictating your destiny without you being aware of it. You live in a sabotage autopilot. You try to move forward with the handbrake on. You accelerate with your will, conscious mind, but your identity, subconscious mind, has the brake locked. The result is a lot of smoke, a lot of noise, a lot of wear and tear, and zero real movement. This is what we call effort, and you already know that effort is the enemy of manifestation. Effort is the signal that you are fighting against your own code. The gravity of identity. Your identity has mass. It generates a gravitational field. Imagine your current identity as a planet with a specific gravity. Let's say your planet is called planet scarcity. Everything that orbits your life, friends, work, opportunities, is trapped by the gravity of scarcity. If you try to launch a rocket to get out of there, a new project, a diet, an attempt at change, you need a brutal escape velocity. At first, with a lot of motivation, brute force, the rocket goes up. You start earning some money. You start losing weight. But the gravity of your identity is relentless and constant. Motivation is limited fuel. As soon as motivation runs out, gravity wins. The rocket stops, falls, and crashes. You go back to the same weight. You go back to the same salary. And you tell yourself, I have failed. You haven't failed. You have simply obeyed the law of gravity. You cannot escape your planet using force. You have to transform the planet. You have to change the composition of your core so that its gravity attracts different things. If you become planet abundance, you don't have to strain to bring in money. Money will fall upon you like meteors, attracted by your immense gravity. You don't have to chase the butterflies. You have to build the garden so that they come. The lie of objectivity. To reprogram this algorithm, you must first kill a sacred cow. The belief in objectivity. You have been taught to be realistic, to see things as they are. The consciousness engineer knows that seeing things as they are is the ultimate trap. If you observe your current reality, unpaid bills, loneliness, and accept that as the truth, you are collapsing the probability wave over and over again into the same pattern. You are using your power as an observer to solidify the prison. Your current reality is not the truth. It is simply the echo of your thoughts and beliefs of yesterday. It is the fossilized residue of your old identity. Being realistic is being a historian of your own past. If you want to create a different future, you have to be a visionary, not a realist. You have to dare to impose a new subjectivity over the apparent objectivity. You have to look at your zero bank account and instead of saying, "I am broke," which reprograms brokenness, say, "I am in a process of massive recharge. I am a generator of unlimited wealth." It sounds like madness to the rational ego. It sounds like a delusion. But Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, Gandhi, all of them were called delusional because they refused to accept the current reality as definitive. They imposed their reality distortion field, their identity algorithm upon the world, until the world had no choice but to mold itself to their vision. Matter is soft, identity is hard. Matter always, invariably, yields to a sustained and coherent identity. In this first part, we have diagnosed the system failure. You have understood that the universe is a printer, not a judge. You have understood that to desire is to confirm lack. You have understood that your identity is a gravitational field that you cannot escape by running, only by mutating. Now the urgent question is, how is the code rewritten? How do you change an I am that has been solidified for 30 or 40 years? How do you trick the operating system into installing a new abundance driver when the screen shows critical error? In the second part, we will enter the operating room. We are going to perform the source code audit and learn the overwriting process. Get ready, because we are going to have to kill who you think you are to give birth to who you truly are. The source code audit and the avatar overwrite. We have established that you live within a cybernetic feedback loop. Your internal identity projects your external reality, and your reaction to that external reality confirms and solidifies your internal identity. It is a perfect vicious circle. To break it, we must stop the wheel. We must stop living in reaction and start living in creation. This requires an intelligence operation, the audit. Step 1, the reverse audit, reading the print. Most people do not know what their true identity algorithm is. They think they know. They will tell you, "I believe I am smart, a good person, and I deserve the best." But their lives are a mess. Remember, the victim 1.0. Operating system runs in the background in the subconscious, hidden behind pretty icons. Your conscious mind lies. Your physical reality never lies. Your life is the exact print of your code. If you want to know what code you are running, stop looking at your intentions and look at your results. This is called life reverse engineering. If you want to know what your algorithm is regarding money, don't look at what you desire. Look at your bank account. Look at your debts. If you always have just enough to survive, your code says identity, survivor. The survivor never has extra, only just enough. If you earn money and lose it quickly, your code says identity, unworthy. Money is dangerous. If you work to exhaustion for little money, your code says value, being, effort, sacrifice. If you want to know your algorithm regarding love, look at your relationships. If you attract partners who ignore you, your code says identity, invisible, unworthy of attention. If you attract partners who control you, your code says identity, helpless child. This audit hurts. It requires brutal honesty. You have to look at your life and admit, I created this, it wasn't bad luck, it was my code. By accepting this radical responsibility, you regain power. If you wrote it, you can erase it. If you are the victim of an external universe, you are doomed. If you are the programmer of an internal universe, you are free. Step 2. The death of the old self, uninstallation. You cannot install Avatar 2.0, the creator, the millionaire, the beloved, on top of Avatar 1.0, the victim. The system would collapse due to software conflicts. First, you have to uninstall the old self. This is not a smooth process. It is a mourning. You have to let the person you have been die. You have to stop telling your old story. Every time you meet a friend and tell them, it's just that my life has been very hard. It's that my ex did this to me. It's that I'm sick. You are reinstalling the virus. You are making a backup of the malware. The projector's diet, which we will see later in the book, starts here. You must become boring regarding your past. Stop glorifying your suffering. Stop using your victimhood as a badge of identity. The ego loves its pain. It gives it a sense of identity. I am the one who suffers. You have to be willing to be a nobody for a while so that you can be an everything later. You have to let go of the victim narrative. Tell yourself, that story no longer lives here. That was a character I played. The actor has stepped off the stage. Step 3. The new code design, scripting. Now with the screen black, you write the new code. But you don't write it as a desire, I want to be rich. You write it as a statement of identity. You define the avatar you want to embody with surgical precision. Who is that person living the life you dream of? Don't ask yourself what they have, ask yourself who they are. How do they walk? How do they speak? What tone of voice do they use? How do they breathe when faced with a problem? What do they believe about money? For the wealthy avatar, money is air, it abounds, it is everywhere, it is easy to breathe. What do they believe about love? Write your new I am. I am the operating power. I am magnetic abundance. I am the authority in my world. These are not empty affirmations. They are architectural blueprints. Step 4. The embodiment, merging with the avatar. This is where most fail. They write the script and then go back to living as the victim. Changing the algorithm requires occupation. You have to occupy the body and mind of your new avatar. This is the principle of be, do, have, being, doing, having, that we will talk about in the future. But here we focus on being. You have to start thinking and feeling like your Avatar 2.0 before external reality changes. Remember, reality is a mirror with a delay, time lag. For a while, you will still see the old reflection, poverty, even though you have already combed yourself, internal wealth. This is the valley of death. It is the period of time where your faith is tested. Your mind will tell you, look, you're faking. You still have no money, this doesn't work. That is the critical moment. If you react to the current reality, you go back to the old code. If you persist in your new identity, ignoring the evidence of your senses, critical error on the screen, reality has to yield. It is physics. Two things cannot occupy the same place in space-time. Your old reality cannot coexist with your new frequency for long. If you maintain the frequency, the old reality will crumble, sometimes chaotically, to reconfigure into the new form. BIOS access technique, the theta state. To rewrite the code effectively, it is best to do it when the brain is in administrator mode. As we saw in the introduction, you were programmed in theta waves. To deprogram yourself, you must return to theta. This state occurs naturally twice a day, just before falling asleep, hypnagogia, and just upon waking, hypnopompia. Do not use those minutes to look at your phone, which downloads the World of Fear program for you. Use them to print your new self. As you fall asleep, do not review your problems. Review your day as if you were Avatar 2.0. Feel the satisfaction of the fulfilled desire. Feel the texture of the sheets of your mansion, even if you sleep on a sofa. Feel the embrace of your partner, even if you sleep alone. Do not visualize it as a distant movie. Live it in the first person. Trick your brain. Your brain does not distinguish between reality and vivid imagination. If you fall asleep in the feeling of success, your subconscious, the 3D printer, will spend the next 8 hours configuring your biology and your quantum field to match that success. You are hacking the system while you sleep. The coherence test. You will know the algorithm has changed when your automatic reaction to the world changes. When an unexpected bill arrives, and instead of feeling the usual knot in your stomach, victim 1.0, you feel a strange calm, a certainty that money is infinite, creator 2.0. When someone insults you, and instead of defending yourself or crying, you feel indifference or compassion. When your internal world is more real to you than your external world. At that moment, the code has been compiled. The new Me.exe executable is running, and it's only a matter of time, the reality buffer, for the screen to update and show the new landscape. The mirror has no free will. It cannot decide not to reflect you. If you change, the mirror changes. It is law. It is not luck. The danger of the false self, spiritual ego. Many build an avatar 2.0 that is just an inflated version of their ego. I want to be a millionaire, so everyone envies me. I want to be powerful to take revenge. That is not a real change of identity. That is the same victim 1.0, but with gold makeup. The true change of identity brings you closer to your essential self. It doesn't distance you from it. The true creator is generous, not greedy. It is secure, not arrogant. Arrogance is fear in disguise. Security is silence. Your avatar 2.0 must be a more authentic, freer and more loving version of yourself. Do not seek to impress the Matrix. The Matrix is an illusion. Seek to impress yourself. Seek internal coherence. Chapter 3. The Physics of the Buffer. Understanding the Matrix's loading latency and why you must not cancel the order. The necessary latency and the metaphor of the cosmic Amazon. You have emitted the signal. You have shouted into the canyon. You have changed your identity, and now nothing. Silence. You check the clock. A day has passed. A week. A month. Reality remains static. This is where the true torture for the initiate begins. The human mind, trained in the instant gratification of the digital age, click and download, does not have the hardware installed to process the latency of matter. We live in a broadband culture, but we operate in a dial-up universe. This gap between the speed of your desire, instant, and the speed of your reality, slow, is what we call the buffer. Then computing. A buffer is a temporary memory space where data is stored while being transferred from one place to another to compensate for the speed difference between the sender and the receiver. If you watch a YouTube video and your connection is slow, the video stops to load, buffering. The gray bar moves forward, but the image is frozen. Does it mean the video is broken? No. Does it mean the internet is down? No. It means the system is accumulating data until it has enough information to play the next scene smoothly. Your life is currently buffering. You have sent a massive amount of new data, your new identity of abundance, love. The matrix, the receiver, is dense. It needs time to download, decompress, and render that data into the form of cars, houses, and partners. The fatal error that 99% of people make is interpreting the loading icon as a system error message. Out of doubt, they hit the refresh page button, doubt, fear, and in doing so, they restart the download from zero. The Amazon order metaphor. Let's use the most accurate analogy for 3D manifestation, e-commerce. Imagine you log into Amazon. You search for a product, financial freedom. You select it. You click buy. The system tells you, order confirmed. Your package is on its way. You close your computer. You feel satisfied. You know it's coming. You don't sit in front of your door 5 minutes later crying because the package hasn't arrived. You don't call Amazon after 10 minutes screaming, "It's a scam. I don't see the package." You don't doubt. You know there is an invisible logistics chain, warehouses, trucks, planes, delivery drivers, that set itself in motion the exact moment of your click. You know the package has to travel through physical space. You have mechanical certainty. Now apply this to your reality. Your click was your change of identity. Your assumption of I am. The universe told you through your internal peace. Order confirmed. But because you don't see the package, the money, the partner, At your door the next day, you panic. You start to doubt. Did I order it right? Did I get the address wrong? What if I don't deserve the package? And worst of all, you cancel the order. Vibrationally, doubt is a cancellation order. If 3 days after placing the desire you get depressed and say, "This doesn't work," you are sending an email to the cosmic Amazon that says, "Customer no longer resides in the frequency of certainty. Customer resides in the frequency of lack. Please abort delivery." And the truck, which was 2 blocks from your house, turns around. The safety function of time, the escape valve. The ego sees time as an enemy. Why is it taking so long? The engineer sees time as a safety device. Imagine if there were no buffer. Imagine if manifestation were instantaneous. You'd have a thought of fear. What if my child has an accident? Boom! Instant accident. You'd have a moment of rage against your boss. I wish you were dead. Boom! Dead boss. It would be absolute chaos. Our minds are too undisciplined, volatile, and chaotic to handle the power of instant manifestation. We would destroy ourselves in 24 hours. The buffer is the mercy of the universe. The buffer says, "Okay, the human thought I am wealthy. Let's wait 30 days. If he holds the thought for 30 days, he's serious. If he changes his mind tomorrow, we save ourselves the work of moving the energy." The delay is the filter that separates whims from real orders. Only sustained vibration pierces the filter. Most of your fears do not manifest, fortunately, because you don't hold them long enough. You shift focus. Similarly, most of your positive desires do not manifest because you don't hold them long enough. You give up before the buffer ends. The gestation of the seed, the necessary darkness. Let's change metaphors, from technology to biology. A human pregnancy lasts 9 months. It is a biological law. You cannot, no matter how hard you try, put 9 women together to have a baby in 1 month. There are processes that require inescapable linear time. When you plant a bamboo seed, for the first 5 years you see nothing. The ground is flat. If you are an ignorant gardener, you will dig up the earth after a week to see if it's growing. In doing so, you kill the seed by exposing it to light prematurely. If you are a neurotic gardener, you will water the earth with your tears of despair. You will drown the seed. During those 5 years of nothing, the bamboo is building a massive underground root network capable of supporting a 30-meter trunk. Once the network is finished, the buffer, the bamboo grows 30 meters in 6 weeks. The visible growth is explosive, but the invisible preparation was slow. Your desire is a seed. The buffer is the dark soil. Darkness is necessary. You need to leave your desire in peace. You need to stop watching it. The quantum adage says, "A watched pot never boils." Anxious observation, watching from lack, freezes the process. It collapses the wave function into the state of waiting. If you are waiting, you are not having. If you are looking at the clock, you are affirming absence. The buffer requires you to forget time. It requires you to live your life with such fullness in the present that the desire arrives as a pleasant surprise, not a desperate rescue. The density of matter, viscosity. Let's talk pure physics. The mental plane is gas, it moves fast. The emotional plane is liquid, it moves fluidly. The physical plane is solid, it is ice, it is rock. For a thought, gas, to become a physical experience, rock, it has to go through a process of condensation. It has to slow down its vibration until it becomes dense. This process of cooling and densifying consumes time and energy. Imagine you want to turn water vapor into a block of ice. It doesn't happen in a second. You have to put it in the freezer and wait. During the first hour, the water is still liquid. If you open the freezer every 5 minutes, you let heat in and delay the process. The buffer is that freezing time. You are condensing pure energy into hard matter, money, bricks, body. Understand that matter is slow by definition. Do not get angry with matter for being matter. Do not get angry with the ice for taking time to freeze. Respect the nature of the medium in which you operate. You are an architect working with concrete, not light. Concrete takes time to dry. If you try to build the second floor before the first floor dries, the building collapses. The lag and mechanical faith. In online video games, lag is the delay between your action and the server's response. If you shoot and there is lag, the enemy falls 2 seconds later. A novice player thinks he has missed and shoots 10 more times, wasting ammo. An expert player, pro, knows he has lag. He shoots once with precision and turns to look for the next enemy, knowing the first will fall in 2 seconds. He has mechanical faith in the server. You must develop that coldness, do your internal work, visualization, feeling. That is the shot. And then turn away. Go do something else. Do not stand there staring at the corpse, waiting for it to fall. Trust the lag. Lag is not a denial. It is only a deferred confirmation. When you understand this, anxiety disappears. Anxiety is only the ignorance of lag. If you know the package is coming, you don't suffer. You just clean the house for when it arrives. Survival protocols in the waiting room. We understand the theory. The buffer is necessary, safe and mechanical. But now you are in the trench. It's Monday, 8 a.m. You hate your job, and your successful entrepreneur manifestation is nowhere to be seen. The buffer hurts. The buffer feels like an endless desert. Your mind starts to negotiate. Well, maybe I should settle. Maybe this isn't for me. Maybe I'm crazy. Careful. These are the voices of mission abort. We need tactical tools to keep our sanity and vibration high while the concrete dries. Protocol 1. Active occupation, killing the dead time. The buffer becomes unbearable when you have dead time, when you sit on the couch to wait. Passive waiting is poison. Passive waiting generates rumination. Why isn't it arriving? What am I doing wrong? You have to eliminate passive waiting from your life. You have to enter active occupation, but not occupation to get your desire, that is effort, friction, but occupation to enjoy your current life. Paradox. The best way to speed up time is to stop paying attention to it. When you're having fun, time flies. When you suffer, time stretches. If you want the buffer to pass quickly, subjectively, you have to fill your life with activities that absorb you, flow. Learn a language, start a hobby, do sports, clean your house. Don't do it to distract yourself from the pain. Do it to live. The universe responds to the vibration of life. If you are sitting waiting, you vibrate in pause, and the universe puts you on pause. If you are living intensely, you vibrate in movement, and the universe moves your order faster. Tell yourself, my only task while the order arrives is to be as happy as possible with what I have now. I'm going to make the wait so much fun that I'll almost forget what I'm waiting for. Protocol 2. Gratitude as a temporal lubricant. Einstein said that time is relative. The highest vibration, love, gratitude, collapses time. The lowest vibration, fear, pain, expands time. If you want to shorten the buffer, you have to lubricate the channel with gratitude. But not just gratitude for what you have, though that too, but gratitude for what is coming. Thanking something before receiving it is the ultimate manifestation technology. Why? Because gratitude is the emotional signature of it has already happened. You only say thank you when someone gives you the gift. If you give thanks now for the money you don't see, you are sending a signal to the quantum field that says, the event has already occurred. The buffer gets confused, in a good way. The buffer says, wait, the subject is already giving thanks. It means the package has already arrived in his timeline. We have to hurry to align physical reality with his signal. You speed up the rendering. Every morning during the buffer, spend 5 minutes giving specific thanks for your desire. Thank you for this wonderful car. I love how it smells new. Thank you for this partner who loves me so much. Feel it as real. This not only speeds up the process, but relieves the anxiety of waiting. It is impossible to feel anxiety and gratitude at the same time. Protocol 3. The danger of the almost there land signals. Halfway through the buffer, you will start to see land signals, as we saw in Book 1, Kate 9, but here we go deeper into the trap. You will start to see almost manifestations. If you want an ideal partner, suddenly someone will appear who has 80% of what you ask for, but the crucial 20% is missing. Maybe they don't want commitment. If you want a job for 5,000, they will offer you one for 3,000. It's the almost there. Here is the trap, the temptation to settle. The ego, tired of waiting, will tell you, well, this is better than nothing. Grab it. Maybe nothing better will come. Hey, bird in the hand. If you accept the almost there out of fear there won't be more, you cancel the original order, the big one, and accept the defective version. You tell the universe, "I'll settle for this." And the universe stops the shipment of the premium order. The almost there is a test of faith. The universe asks you, are you desperate or are you sure? If you are sure, you will wait for the full order. If you are desperate, you will take the crumbs. When the almost there appears, be grateful for it, but let it pass, if it doesn't resonate 100%. Say thank you. This is a signal that I am close. But this is not what I ordered. I ordered excellence. I am still waiting for mine. Having the courage to say no to the good is what opens the door to the excellent. Protocol 4. Clearing the runway, preparing the space. If you ordered a new sofa on Amazon, what do you do before it arrives? You take out the old sofa, you clean the living room, you make space. If the truck arrives and your living room is full of trash, they can't deliver the sofa. During the buffer, you have to make physical and energetic space. If you want new clothes, throw away the old ugly clothes you hate. Leave empty hangers. If you want a partner, make space in your closet and your schedule. Sleep on one side of the bed. If you want money, clean your wallet. Throw away old, crumpled receipts. Organize your papers. This serves a double function. 1. Practical. You prepare the logistical ground. 2. Magical. You prove to the universe that your expectation is real. No one throws away their old sofa if they aren't 100% sure the new one is coming. The action of making space is a massive declaration of faith. It is telling the buffer, I am so sure you're arriving that I've already made room for you. The art of ignoring the scoreboard. Imagine a basketball game. If the players look at the scoreboard every 2 seconds, they can't play well. They get distracted. They get nervous if they are losing. To win, they have to ignore the scoreboard and focus on the ball, the game, the next pass. The scoreboard takes care of itself if you play well. Your current physical reality is the scoreboard. Your vibrational work is the game. During the buffer, stop looking at the scoreboard. Stop checking your bank account 5 times a day. Stop checking if they've messaged you. Look at the ball, your vibration. Focus on playing an excellent game today, feeling good, giving your best. Trust that if you play well every minute, when the final buzzer sounds, the scoreboard will reflect your victory. Obsession with the scoreboard is the #1 cause of defeat in manifestation. Tactical surrender, or something better. Sometimes the buffer is long because the universe is bringing you something better than what you asked for, and that requires more logistics. You asked for an apartment. The universe brings you a mansion. The mansion takes longer to build. To navigate the buffer without rigidity, always add the magic clause to your desire. This, or something better. This relaxes your grip. If it's late, you can think, maybe it's late because they are upgrading the order. Maybe the superior model is coming. This narrative keeps you in positive hope rather than frustration. It turns waiting into curiosity. What wonderful surprise is the matrix cooking up to take so long? It must be grand. The final instruction: maintain hydraulic pressure. Imagine a hydraulic jack lifting a car. You have to pump the handle constantly. If you stop pumping, the car doesn't stay there. It goes down. Your focus of attention is the handle. The buffer is the time it takes to lift the car enough to change the tire. You cannot pump one day and not for 3. The car will go down. You have to maintain constant, gentle pressure. It's not force, gritting your teeth. It's consistency, returning to the state of fulfilled desire every time you slip away. Gentle persistence. Every time your mind says it's not coming, you respond gently, it's on its way, 1,000 times, until one day, without warning, on any given Tuesday, the doorbell rings, the package is here, and you will realize that the waiting time, seen in hindsight, was but a breath, and that it was worth every second. Chapter 4. The Bridge of Incidents, Controlled Demolition, and the Engineering of Constructive Chaos, the Paradox of Disaster, and the Logic of Relocation. You have overcome the buffer. You have waited in the silence. You have maintained mechanical faith while the server loaded, and suddenly the screen of your reality turns on. But the image that appears is not a golden sunrise with violins playing. The image is an explosion. Your boss calls you into the office and fires you. Your landlord tells you they need the apartment, and you have 1 month to leave. Your partner, with whom you envisioned a life of eternal love, asks for a break. The car breaks down on the same day as your important interview. The ego, in its short-sighted ignorance, screams, "System failure, abort mission. I've done something wrong, the universe hates me." The ego interprets chaos as punishment or as proof that the law of assumption is a lie. It runs to hide under the bed, trying to glue the pieces of its old life together with cheap adhesive, apologizing, begging for security. In doing this, it commits the gravest metaphysical crime. It stops the construction work in the middle of the demolition. Welcome to the bridge of incidents. This is the most misunderstood transport mechanism in quantum physics. Neville Goddard taught us that we move from our current state to our desired state through a bridge of incidents. But we were rarely warned that this bridge is often paved with bricks that look like misfortunes. We need to understand the engineering of relocation. Imagine you live in a small wooden cabin on a vacant lot, your old identity. You have hired the universal architect to build a glass mansion, your fulfilled desire, on that same plot. The architect accepts the job. What is the first physical and inevitable step to build the mansion? Bringing in the luxury furniture? Putting up the curtains? No. The first step is bringing in the wrecking ball. The architect has to destroy the cabin. There must be noise, dust, debris, and structural violence. If you are inside the cabin, clinging to the walls, screaming, "My house, don't break it," you are fighting against your own desire. Being fired is not a misfortune. It is the demolition of the professional cabin that prevented you from occupying the mansion of your true purpose. The breakup is not a loss of love. It is the clearing of space so the real love you asked for can enter. The law of spatial exclusion. We live in a physical universe governed by Pauli's exclusion principle, adapted to macrophysics. Two objects cannot occupy the same space at the same time. Two realities cannot occupy the same timeline. For the new to enter, the old must leave. And the physics of leaving is usually full of friction. Matter has inertia. The structures of your life, work, relationships, habits have deep roots. Uprooting them requires force. That force manifests as crisis. A crisis is nothing more than an acceleration of evolution. When you ask for a quantum leap, a fast and large change, you are asking for a brutal acceleration of time. You are asking to compress 10 years of growth into 6 months. How does that look from the outside? It looks like a whirlwind. It looks like everything is breaking at once. But it is not breaking at random. It is breaking under an intelligent design. It is a controlled demolition. Demolition engineers place explosives in the key pillars of a building so it falls upon its own base without damaging adjacent buildings. The universe does the same. It places explosive charges in the pillars of your false identity, your job security, your external validation. And it presses the button, boom, you fall. But you fall upon your own center. You fall inward. The inevitability of natural means. Many expect manifestation to be magical in the Disney sense. A fairy godmother appearing with a wand and poof, the carriage appears without displacing any air. But consciousness engineering operates in the 3D world. Manifestation must appear natural. It must occur through a chain of logical causes and effects, even if the primary cause is spiritual. If you visualize being a millionaire, it is unlikely a bag of cash will appear on your bed. That would violate the laws of reality's consistency and send you to the asylum. It is more likely to occur through a natural bridge of incidents. 1. You get fired, crisis. 2. You look for work desperately and find nothing, pressure. 3. To survive, you sell homemade cakes or offer an online service, forced action. 4. The business explodes and you become rich, result. Looking back, you will say, getting fired was the best thing that ever happened to me. But while you were crossing the bridge, steps 1 and 2, it felt like the end of the world. The bridge of incidents uses bad luck as propulsion fuel. The universe is a master of judo. It uses the force of the attack, the problem, to throw you toward the solution. If you hadn't been fired, you would never have had the hunger or the need to start a business. You would have stayed in the comfort of the cabin. The crisis was the necessary push to get you out of the nest. The reframe, the treasure map, is dirty. The problem is not the negative event. The problem is your interpretation of the event. Your conscious mind is limited. It only sees the fragment of reality right in front of its nose. It sees firing and searches its database. Firing, danger, death. The higher mind, the architect, sees the whole map. It sees firing and knows firing marks a necessary left turn to find the gold mine 2 streets away. When you are on the bridge of incidents, your internal GPS screams, recalculating route. Sometimes to go north you have to go south for a few miles to find the highway. If you get scared when the car turns south, we're moving away. You try to grab the wheel and return to the dirt road. You have to trust the GPS algorithm. The road to success often looks like a road to failure for 90% dollars of the journey. It's like a thriller movie. The protagonist, you, must appear to be cornered, lost and hopeless just before the triumphant climax. If the movie were easy, there would be no transformation. The bridge of incidents is the dramatic knot of your movie. It is where residual karma is burned. It is where you prove what you are made of. The energy of the purge, detox. Let's talk thermodynamics. You have been accumulating low vibration energy, fear, doubt, scarcity for years. That energy is stored in your cells and your quantum field. When you invoke high frequency, abundance, that new energy enters your system and starts pushing the old energy out. Like pouring clean water into a glass full of dirty water. The dirty water overflows. That overflow is the visible chaos. It is a purge. Arguments that arise from nowhere, appliances breaking, sudden headaches. It is the dirt leaving the system. It is an excellent sign. It means the cleaning is working. Cleaning. The novice sees the dirty water coming out and says, "I'm making a mess, I'm going to stop." The master sees the dirty water and says, "Fantastic, the poison is coming out. More clean water, please." Do not try to put the dirty water back in the glass. Let it run. Let people leave. Let structures fall. Do not cling to the rubble. Rubble is not gold. It is just dust from the past. Navigation, protocols, and the eye of the storm. You are in the middle of the bridge. The wind howls. The boards creak. Below is the abyss. Behind you, the fire of your old life is burning. Ahead, fog. You don't see the shore of promise. You only see fog and chaos. Your biology screams, "Run, go back, save yourself." But there is no back. The cabin no longer exists. There is only forward. To cross this stretch without falling, you need a mental discipline of steel. You need to become a master of the interface. Here are the tactical tools to survive the demolition. Protocol 1. Radical neutrality, the eye of the storm. In a hurricane, there are winds of 300 km each destroying everything on the periphery, but at the exact center in the eye there is absolute calm. The sun shines. You must be the eye. Your external life, periphery, may be in chaos, but your internal life, center, must remain in zero neutrality. How is this achieved? By stripping labels from events. An event in itself is neutral. It is just a movement of atoms. "I have been fired" is a neutral fact. Termination of contract. "It's terrible. I'm going to starve. I'm a failure" is the label you put on it. And that label is what generates suffering. The practice. When disaster occurs, apply the suspension of judgment. Say, "This has happened, period." Do not add adjectives. Do not add bad, unfair, terrible. Look at it like a scientist watching an explosive chemical reaction in a lab. Interesting. Compound A reacted with compound B and exploded, data recorded. By not labeling it as bad, you don't trigger the fight-or-flight stress response. You keep your prefrontal cortex turned on, intelligence. And most importantly, you do not collapse the wave into negative. You leave the wave open. By leaving it open, you allow the event to evolve. What looked bad on Monday by not being judged has space to reveal itself as good by Friday. Protocol 2. The story of the Chinese farmer. Fluid logic. There is an ancient Taoist parable that is the operational base of the bridge of incidents. A farmer has a horse. The horse runs away. Neighbors. What bad luck. Farmer. Maybe. The next day, the horse returns with 3 wild horses. Neighbors. What good luck. Farmer. Maybe. The farmer's son tries to tame a wild horse, falls and breaks his leg. Neighbors. What bad luck. Farmer. Maybe. The army comes to recruit young men for war. They reject the son because of his broken leg. All the other young men in the village die in the war. Neighbors. What good luck. Farmer. Maybe. This is the engineer's mentality. You never know if an event is good or bad until you see the end of the movie. The bridge of incidents is a long chain. Link 1, bad. Link 2, good. Link 3, bad. If you judge Link 1 and give up, you never reach Link 10, the treasure. Adopt the posture of maybe or we shall see. Protocol 3, non-interference, hands off. When the building is collapsing, the worst thing you can do is run toward the rubble to try to hold up the walls with your hands. A brick will fall on your head. When your life enters the bridge of incidents, the temptation to fix it is overwhelming. Stop. The principle of Wu-Wei, action through non-action, says, do not interfere with the natural movement of the Tao. The universe is moving the pieces. They are heavy pieces. If you stick your hand in, you get crushed. Your job during the bridge is to step aside. Let fall what must fall. Let leave who must leave. Adoption, the attitude of what is mine will stay, what is not mine will leave to make space for what is. Protocol 4, the million-dollar question. When fear assaults you in the middle of the bridge, ask yourself, if I knew with absolute certainty that this was going to end wonderfully well, how would I act right now? The answer is usually, I would be calm. I would laugh. I would go to sleep. Then do that. Act as if you knew the ending. In doing so, you shift your vibration from victim of tragedy to hero in an adventure. The hero in the movie, when surrounded by enemies, doesn't cry. He thinks, he looks for the exit. He knows he is the protagonist and cannot die in scene 3. You are the protagonist. You cannot die on the bridge. Treat it as a transition scene. The GPS and the recalculation. Return to the GPS metaphor. You set the destination. Wealth. You started driving. Suddenly you hit a road closed sign, firing. It doesn't mean you can't reach the destination. It means the old route no longer serves to get you where you want to go. The universe put up the fence to force you to turn. The GPS says, recalculating, and it sends you down an unknown dark mountain road. Entrepreneurship, new sector. It's scary because you don't know it, but it's the only road that reaches the summit. Thank the fence. Thank the block. The block is the protection. If you had stayed on the old road, you would have reached a cliff. From why to for what? The victim asks, why is this happening to me? Looks to the past, seeks blame. The engineer asks, for what purpose is this happening? Looks to the future, seeks utility. What purpose does this firing serve? To have free time for my project. What purpose does this breakup serve? To learn to love myself without depending on another. Use every brick that hits you. Build a step with it. You are going to cross. It is inevitable. The only variable is how you cross. You can cross screaming and scratching the ground, arriving exhausted and wounded, or you can cross walking with dignity, observing the chaos with curiosity, and keeping your eyes on the goal. Chaos doesn't touch you if you don't touch chaos. If you stay in your high vibration, chaos happens around you but not inside you. You are like a submarine. There may be a terrible storm on the surface, giant waves, thunder, but you are navigating at $50 meters deep. Down there, the water is still. The bridge of incidents is a surface storm. Keep your depth. And remember, the bigger the chaos, the bigger the restructuring. If your life is breaking a little, a small change is coming. If your life is breaking completely, down to the foundations, smile. Because an empire is coming. Chapter 5, Human Mirrors. Everyone is you pushed out in the direction of actors. The engineering of relationships and the death of the other. You have learned to manage inert matter, money, houses, objects. You have learned that time is a buffer. But now we enter the slipperiest and most painful terrain of the interface, other people. This is where most students of consciousness engineering fail miserably. They can accept that they create their money, but they flatly refuse to accept that they create their partner's attitude, their boss's tyranny, or their friend's betrayal. The ego screams, no, I am good. They are bad. They have free will and decided to hurt me. I am the victim of their malice. As long as you hold this belief, as long as you believe there are human beings acting independently of your consciousness in your reality, you will remain a slave. Welcome to Neville Goddard's most radical concept, taken here to the engineering extreme. Everyone is you pushed out. In computer terms, there are no others in your simulation. There is only you, the central server, and millions of terminals, people, reflecting the code you are transmitting. The people in your life are not autonomous entities who decide to love or hate you on a whim. They are biological mirrors. They are actors hired by your subconscious to interpret the script you wrote in silence. If your internal script says, "I am someone who is always abandoned," the universe will hire the best actor available to enter your life, make you fall in love, and then cruelly abandon you. They don't do it because they are bad. They do it because they are faithful to your script. They are following orders. You are the director. They are the cast. If you don't like the performance, don't shout at the actor. Don't fire them, because another actor will just come to play the same role. Change the script. The relational hologram theory. Imagine you are in the Star Trek holodeck. You program a simulation, romantic dinner with ideal partner. The computer generates a hologram that treats you like royalty. But then, you start feeling insecure. Your old Victim 1.0 code activates. You think, "They're probably cheating, I'm boring." The computer, the matrix, receives your new input in real time and reprograms the hologram. Suddenly, the hologram starts checking its phone. It becomes cold. It looks at others. You get angry. "Stupid hologram, you're treating me badly." It's absurd, right? The hologram has no will of its own to mistreat you. It only reflects your projected insecurity. Flesh and blood people function exactly the same way in relation to your reality. They are denser than a light hologram, but they respond to the same laws of projection. They have no free will in your reality to act contrary to your deep beliefs about them and yourself. Technical note, they have free will in their own reality, but in the version of them that crosses your timeline, they can only offer you what you are capable of receiving. The unconscious screenwriter. How do we write the script for others? With two tools you use poorly all day. One, your self-concept, what you believe about yourself. If you believe you are not much, others will treat you with condescension. If you believe you are valuable, they will treat you with respect. It is automatic. Two, your concept of them, what you expect from them. If you look at your boss and think he's a tyrant, you are sending a telepathic instruction, be a tyrant, and he, obedient to quantum pressure, will behave like a tyrant with you. The curious thing is that this same boss can be a sweetheart to another employee who sees him as a demanding but fair mentor. The boss is the same. The version each employee receives is different. Each one receives the boss they have created. This explains why you repeat patterns. You change partners, and after 6 months, the new one behaves exactly like the old one. You took the screenwriter, you, to the new relationship. The rebellion of the environment, social homeostasis. When you decide to change, you become Avatar 2.0. But people around you know you as the old self. They have an old version of you saved in their cache. When you change, you break the tacit contract you had with them. If your role was the friend who always listens to complaints and suddenly you say, "I don't want to hear complaints," they rebel. This is social homeostasis. The system wants stability. If one piece you changes shape, the puzzle breaks. Others try to hit you back into your old shape. The novice gets scared and thinks, "My change is hurting people." The master understands my change is forcing the system to reconfigure. You must hold your new identity until they either change to match your frequency or exit your reality. The ghost of "they don't love me." The deepest wound is believing love comes from outside. You seek validation. When you look for validation in the mirror shows you someone seeking lack. Desperation is the most potent anti-aphrodisiac in the universe. If you chase someone, they must flee. It is physics. To be loved, you must stop needing to be loved. You must give that love to yourself. You must look in the mirror and say, "I am the prize." When you feel like the prize, others telepathically feel it and start competing to win you over. It is a change of magnetic polarity. You go from being the beggar to being the son. Social engineering protocols and internal conversation. Now we will learn to operate the projector to modify the projections. Forget traditional psychological manipulation or persuasion. That is operating on the outside in the echo. We will operate on the inside in the cause. Tool 1. The internal conversation, the remote control. Your mind never stops. Much of your dialogue consists of imaginary arguments. You fight mentally with your boss or partner. What you don't know is that the quantum field does not distinguish between a real conversation and an imaginary one. You have telepathically sent the conflict script to the other person. The protocol. 1. Think of the difficult person. 2. Stop the tape of how they usually speak to you. 3. Rewrite the dialogue. 4. Imagine them saying exactly what you want to hear. I value your work. I love you. I am proud of you. 5. Hear it with your internal voice but in their tone. Feel the relief. This is induced telepathy. If you persist in this internal conversation and refuse negative mental arguments, the person will change. They will feel an irresistible impulse to be kind to you and won't even know why. It is the law. Tool 2, the golden break, external silence. While reprogramming internally, what do you do externally? The echo, the physical person, might still bring the old behavior due to inertia. Here you apply the golden break. Do not react, do not argue, do not defend yourself. If you react, you validate and solidify the old behavior. Stay in silence. Look at them as an actor who has fluffed their lines. Think, poor thing, they're still reading the old script. They'll get the facts with the new one tomorrow. Your non-reaction is what allows the new script to land. Silence is the loudest tool for changing others' behavior. Tool 3, the specific person, SP, and obsession. Many want to attract an X or a specific person. It is possible, but there is a death trap, pedestaling. If you put them on a pedestal, you put yourself in a hole. Vibrationally, the universe balances levels. If you make yourself small, the other becomes unreachable. To attract an SP, you must take them off the pedestal. Stop idolizing. As long as you idolize, you repel. Your job is not to use mental voodoo to make them call. Your job is to feel so valuable that it's obvious they should call. The technique, how would I feel if I were their obsession? Feel like the prize. When anxiety disappears, the phone rings. Tool 4, relationship revision, clearing the history. Sometimes the history is too heavy. They hurt me in 2019. As long as you keep that memory alive, you keep the victim and executioner identities alive. You must revise the past. Memory is creative. You can change it in your mind. The protocol. 1. Take that painful memory. 2. Enter it in meditation. 3. Rewrite the scene. Imagine the fight didn't happen or that you understood each other. Imagine they were loyal instead of betraying you. 4. Repeat the new version until it displaces the old one. This cuts the energetic cable feeding the resentment. You free the other person from their role as the villain and free your own heart. Often, after a revision, the other person apologizes out of nowhere. The mental diet for people. Gossip is poison. Stop speaking ill of people, period. Every time you call a friend to complain about your husband or boss, you are driving nails into the coffin of that relationship. You are decreeing, he is a mess. The universe says, heard, more mess on the way. Speak of others only as the version you want to see. Even if it's a lie in the current 3D, it is the truth in the 4D. The side effect, the relationship purge. Final warning. When you start treating yourself with radical respect and rewrite your scripts, some people won't be able to hold the new role. Their level of consciousness won't allow them to rise to your new frequency. They will leave your life. Do not cry over their departure. It is the universe's hygiene. If someone leaves, it's because they don't fit in your new movie of success and love. The empty space will be filled by correct actors. Chapter 6, Wu-Wei Engineering. The paradox of frictionless action and the difference between rowing and sailing. The physics of reversed effort and the lie of sacrifice. You have cleaned your mind. You have hacked your relationships. You have accepted the buffer. Now you face the final operational dilemma. What do I do with my hands? This is where the spiritual community divides into two erroneous camps. One, the hustlers, agonizing effort. They believe the law of attraction is a little extra help, but the real work is grinding stone 16 hours a day. They end up burned out and often block manifestation through excess anxiety. 2. The magical passives, denial. They sit on the sofa to meditate and expect the pizza delivery guy to bring them $1 million without lifting a finger. They end up depressed, cynical, and without results. The consciousness engineer operates in a third way. an ancient path known to Taoists as Wu-Wei, but which we will call low-friction action or flow efficiency. The question is not, should I act? The answer is yes. We live in a physical world that requires movement. The correct question is, from what source of energy am I acting? Are you moving driven by the fear of scarcity, dirty combustion engine, or are you moving driven by inspiration and certainty, wind, solar energy? The physical result of the action may look the same from the outside, but the quantum result is diametrically opposed. The principle of zero friction. In mechanical physics, friction is the force that opposes motion. It generates heat and wear. If you try to push a concrete block over dry asphalt, you need immense energy. If you put that same block on ice or wheels, the effort is minimal. Most people live pushing concrete over asphalt. They believe merit lies in how much they sweat. We have been programmed with the ethics of suffering. If it doesn't hurt, it's not worth it. This is a slave program designed to keep the masses producing with low efficiency and high biological cost. In consciousness engineering, effort is an error signal. If you are straining, feeling heaviness, internal resistance, overwhelm, it means you are going against the current of the universe. It means your action, vector A, and your belief vibration, vector B, are not aligned. You are trying to open a door by pushing when the sign says pull. Wu-Wei, non-action or action without action, does not mean staying still. It means acting in such a way that there is no friction between your intention and your movement. It is the difference between swimming against the current and floating with it while using gentle strokes to steer yourself. The law of reversed effort, the backwards law. Alan Watts and Aldous Huxley spoke of the law of reversed effort. When you try to stay afloat, you sink. When you try to sink, relax, you float. This law rules the psychological and quantum world. Try to fall asleep with all your might, you stay awake. Try to remember a forgotten name with desperation. It blocks. Try to get rich from the fear of poverty. You make mistakes out of anxiety and lose money. Forced action is born from the premise, I don't have it, so I have to run to get it. It is a declaration of lack. Wu-Wei action is born from the premise, I already am it, so it is natural that I do this. It is a declaration of identity. A billionaire flows with business because it is their nature. High-level play, not suffering. Rowing vs. sailing. Imagine two boats crossing the Atlantic. One, the ego boat, oar. The captain believes everything depends on his muscles. He rows frantically. He arrives, if he arrives, aged and bitter. Two, the spirit boat, sail. The captain knows a greater force exists, the wind manifestation current. His job is to hoist the sails, prepare the mind, and move the rudder, make decisions. The sailboat moves faster, and the captain travels resting and adjusting the course gently. You have been a rower all your life. I tell you, drop the oars. It's scary. You'll feel you're losing control, but only when you drop the oars are your hands free to hoist the sail. Only then can the wind push you. The biology of forced action, cortisol versus dopamine. Your body is your instrument panel. Rowing mode, friction, chemistry of cortisol and adrenaline, survival stress. Sensation of stomach contraction, tight jaw, short breath, thoughts of, I have to, I must. Sailing mode, flow, chemistry of dopamine, endorphins, anandamide. Sensation of chest expansion, mild excitement, losing track of time, thoughts of, I want to, how interesting. The common mistake is using willpower to overcome friction. Willpower is a finite resource, like a battery. Inspiration is an infinite resource, like a plug into a nuclear grid. The engineer doesn't force the machine, he aligns it, so resistance is zero. The paradox of massive action. Does this mean I should work little? Not necessarily. When you enter Wu-Wei, you might work more than before. Elon Musk or Picasso worked obsessively, but it wasn't agonizing effort. It was inspired massive action. The difference is the quality of the underlying emotion. Massive action from fear creates poverty. Massive action from passion creates empires. Don't look at the clock. Look at the heart. Navigation protocols and the green signal. Drop the oars, but the ship is still at sea. The practical implementation of Wu-Wei requires acute sensitivity. You no longer make decisions based on linear logic, but on energetic resonance. Protocol 1, the somatic compass, expansion versus contraction. Your body is a quantum antenna. Before taking any action, do the compass test. 1. Visualize the action. 2. Scan your chest and stomach. The red signal, contraction. You feel a knot, a weight, an ugh. Diagnosis, friction, do not do it. If you act now, you will find obstacles. 4. Green signal, expansion. You feel lightness, a jump in the heart, curiosity. Diagnosis, flow. The path is open, do it now. 5. Yellow signal, confusion. You feel nothing or mixed doubts, diagnosis, no wind, wait. Do not force a decision. The golden rule of Wu-Wei. If it is forced, it is not the way. Sometimes waiting 2 hours to align saves 2 weeks of correcting errors. Protocol 2. The golden breadcrumbs, the way is made by walking. The ego wants the full map. The spirit, Wu-Wei, works with breadcrumbs. It only illuminates the next step, only one. Step 1. I feel like buying this notebook. You buy it. Step 2. I feel like writing a sentence, or you write it. Step 3. In that cafe where you went to write, you meet an editor. Engineering Wu-Wei requires you to blindly trust the breadcrumb in front of you. Inspired action is rarely grand at first. It is a whisper. Follow the trail. If an action feels fun, that is the golden thread. Pull it. Protocol 3. The 24-hour rule, impulse filter. Beware of confusing inspiration with fearful reactive impulse. For large or irreversible actions, apply the 24-hour rule. If the idea is genuine divine inspiration, it will still be there tomorrow feeling just as solid. If it was a cortisol spike, it will have deflated. Wu-Wei is fast but never has neurotic haste. Protocol 4. Preparing the container. Logistics without attachment. One type of action is always correct. Preparing logistics. If you aren't inspired to paint today, clean your brushes. Organize your studio. This is an action of faith. You are preparing the vessel for the wine of inspiration. Often, the mechanical act of organizing induces the flow state. You trick your resistance by doing mindless tasks that pave the way for success. The alchemy of mandatory tasks, taxes and dishes. What about things we have to do but hate? Taxes, cleaning, bureaucracy. The friction isn't in the task, it's in your narrative about it. Change the narrative to align with Avatar 2.0. Taxes. I am paying because I generated a lot. It is my contribution as a king-queen to the realm. Dishes. This is my Zen ritual. I am purifying my space. As I wash this plate, I wash my mind. Convert the profane into the sacred. If you change the attitude, the friction disappears. You can scrub the floor as a slave, friction, or as a monk, flow. The difference between laziness and gestation. The ego will call you lazy. The engineer distinguishes between laziness and gestation. Laziness, procrastination, born from fear or apathy. Feels heavy, guilty, and dirty. Gestation, Wu-Wei, born from the need to process. Feels calm and contemplative. You are charging, there is no guilt. In nature, the lion lies down for 20 hours. He is conserving energy for the explosive hunt. When he hunts, he is infallible. If he ran 10 hours a day to be productive, he would be too tired to catch the gazelle. You are the lion. Rest without guilt. And when the gazelle, the inspired opportunity, passes, leap with all your accumulated power. That precise lethal leap is worth more than 10 years of running in circles like a hamster. Chapter 7. Detecting glitches, synchronicities, repeating numbers, and the secret language of the responding server, rendering artifacts and the breakdown of statistical probability. You have emitted your new frequency. You have respected the buffer. You have navigated the chaos of the bridge of incidents. And now, the fabric of reality begins to behave strangely. You start noticing patterns that defy statistical logic. You look at the clock, 11:11. You look at the license plate of the car in front of you, 1:11. You buy a coffee and the change is 11:11. You think of a song from 20 years ago that you never listened to. You walk into a supermarket, and that song is playing. You talk about someone you haven't seen in years, and 10 minutes later, you cross paths with them or they call you. Ordinary people call these coincidences. Religious people call them signs from angels. The consciousness engineer calls them rendering glitches, bugs in the matrix. To understand what is happening, let's return to the computer simulation metaphor. Your reality is a computer-generated environment, the quantum field, that responds to your input commands, identity assumption. When you change your source code radically, the universal operating system has to reconfigure the stage to match your new program. This reconfiguration process consumes processing resources. Synchronicities are the visual artifacts of that massive processing. They are the seams of the system becoming visible. When you see 1111 or repeating numerical patterns, it's not an angel waving from a cloud. It is the binary code of the matrix flickering. It is the signal that the connection between your intention, command, and the manifestation screen has been successfully established, and the data transfer is occurring at high speed. It is the server telling you, command received, processing, loading new timeline. The breakdown of the bell curve, statistical impossibility. The skeptic will say, it's suggestion. You only see 1111 because you're looking for it. It's the reticular activating system, RAS. The RAS plays a role, yes. It filters information. But the engineer knows there is a threshold where the RAS cannot explain statistical impossibility. If you think of a purple elephant and see one on TV, that might be RAS. But if you think of a purple elephant, and you step outside to find a purple elephant plushie lying at your door, and then you open your mail and there's a purple elephant logo, and then your friend calls you to say, I dreamed about elephants. The mathematical probability of those independent events occurring within a 2-hour span tends towards 0. That is not selective attention. That is coordinated wave collapse. You are bending probability. Carl Jung called this synchronicity, and a causal connecting principle. Wolfgang Pauli, Nobel laureate in physics, collaborated with Jung because quantum physics was starting to prove that matter and mind were not separate things, but the same thing in different states. When these synchronicities occur, you are witnessing the observer effect in real time. Your mind is magnetizing events. Coincidences are simply matter organizing itself around your new magnetic center of gravity. Typology of glitches. Not all signals are equal. The server has different response codes. The binary code repeating numbers, 0111 1111, the gateway. It means alignment. The channel is open. Your thoughts are manifesting fast. It's a yes from the system. Soysturm 22, gestation. Keep watering the seed. Everything is fine even if you don't see it yet. Patience. 0333, support. Masters, or infinite intelligence, are collaborating on the logistics of your desire. 0444, stability. Foundations are settling, protection. 0555, change. The bridge of incidents is moving. Imminent turbulence, positive. 0666, materialization, density. It's not the devil. It is the number of carbon, of matter. It means the spiritual is becoming physical. Watch your materialistic thoughts. The conversational echo, passive telepathy. You are thinking of a specific concept, e.g., financial freedom. You sit in a cafe and two strangers at the next table say aloud, the important thing is financial freedom. That is a proximity echo. Your mental transmission is so strong it is bleeding into the minds of secondary actors, extras, near your rendering radius. They believe it's their thought, but they are reciting your script. The manifestation of the symbol, the radar. If you are manifesting a specific car, red Tesla, you will start seeing it everywhere. It's not that there are more Teslas. You've tuned into the Tesla frequency. The universe is showing you the catalog, telling you, is this what you want? Look, we have it in stock, it's getting closer. The Truman effect. Remember the movie, The Truman Show? There is a moment when Truman starts to suspect because reality has glitches. A spotlight falls from the sky. Rain falls only on him. People repeat patterns, loops. When you begin to wake up and apply consciousness engineering, you will experience the Truman effect. You will feel that reality is a set. You will feel that people are winking at you without knowing it. You will feel a secret complicity with the universe. Sometimes you will ask for a sign. If this is the right path, show me a blue feather. And you will find the blue feather in the most unlikely place, inside your fridge painted on a package. In that moment, fear disappears. Loneliness disappears. You realize you are never alone. You are in a constant, intimate, and playful dialogue with the intelligence that sustains the atoms. The universe has a sense of humor, and it loves it when you discover its tricks. The technical function of the signal. What are these signals for? Are they just to cheer us up? No, they are navigation beacons. Imagine you are landing a plane in the fog, the buffer. You don't see the runway, but you see the flashing runway lights. The lights are not the runway. You can't land on a light, but they tell you where the runway is. Synchronicities are the landing lights for your manifestation. They tell you, you're doing well, stay the course, don't turn, you are aligned. Or, if the signals turn negative, accidents, bad numbers, hearing fights, they tell you, you are drifting, your vibration has dropped. Correct the course, correcting altitude. Interpretation protocols and the neutrality of the decoder. You know the universe is speaking to you. The server is sending you pings. Now you must learn to read the command console without losing your mind. The danger of synchronicities is magical paranoia, seeing hidden meanings in everything, or confirmation addiction, needing to see an 1111 to feel safe. Protocol 1. The wink acknowledgement of receipt. When you see a synchronicity, your emotional reaction is key. Incorrect reaction, spiritual ego, excessive excitement. Oh my God, it's a miracle, I'm the chosen one. This dissipates energy and pushes the extraordinary away by defining it as rare. Correct reaction, the engineer. The wink. You look at the signal, you smile slightly, you nod, mentally say, received, good one, moving on. Treat it with normalcy, as if you were a spy receiving a signal from another spy. By normalizing the miracle, you tell the universe, this is my standard, keep them coming. Protocol 2. Meaning injection, you are the encryptor. Here is a secret, signals are neutral. 1111 has no intrinsic meaning. The black crow on your window has no intrinsic meaning. It is the source code of reality offering you an empty symbol. You inject the meaning. You have administrator privileges. Victim interpretation. 666 is bad luck. Something will go wrong. Result. You suggest yourself into a bad event. Creator interpretation. 666 is the number of matter and gold. This means I'm becoming filthy rich. Result. You feel powerful and attract money. You have the power to overwrite the meaning of any symbol. The universe has no dictionary. Use your own. Be a dictator with meanings. Everything I see confirms my success. Protocol 3. The signal bridge. Follow the white rabbit. Sometimes the signal is a direction. You are debating between Party A and Party B. Suddenly you hear a song that reminds you of someone going to Party A. The glitch is pushing you. Apply fast obedience. Follow the white rabbit. Synchronicities are often shortcuts calculated by the algorithm, so you meet the opportunity you asked for. Trust the universe's AI. Protocol 4. The silence before the thunder, the dead zone. This is where most fail the final test. You've been seeing 1111 everywhere, crazy synchronicities, and suddenly everything stops. Radio silence, no more numbers. The world becomes boringly normal and dense. The ego panics. I've lost the connection. Error. Silence is not disconnection. Silence is saturation. Remember, when downloading a large file, the progress bar reaches 99% and then stops for a few seconds. The hard drive is writing the final data. When signals stop abruptly, it means the manifestation is no longer on its way. It means it is here. It has moved from wave, signal, to particle, event. When silence arrives, celebrate. Mentally say, render complete, opening file. Protocol 5. Interpretation hygiene, don't go crazy. A mental safety warning. Sometimes a banana is just a banana. If you obsess over finding messages in everything, you enter psychosis. Use the rule of emotional relevance. Did the signal cause a thump in your chest? A shiver? Did it grab your attention in an unusual way? It's a signal. Are you searching for the signal by anxiously scanning the environment? It's mental noise. True synchronicity finds you. You don't find it. It assaults you. If you have to squint to see an 1111 on a distant plate, it doesn't count. The universe knows where you live. If it wants to give you a message, It will put it on a neon sign in front of your nose. Chapter 8: The Bloodhound Trap. Why obsessively searching for signs collapses the wave function into absence. The quantum Zeno effect and the paradox of surveillance. You have learned to detect glitches, Chapter 7. You've seen 1111, you've felt the magic, and then you commit the fatal error. You become addicted to confirmation. You become a bloodhound. You start waking up in the morning, not to live your life, but to scan your reality for proof that your desire is arriving. You check your phone every 3 minutes. Did they text? You check your bank account. Has the money gone in? You check your body in the mirror. Have I lost weight yet? You check car license plates. Where is my sign? You think you are being diligent. You think you are maintaining focus. Consciousness engineering has devastating news for you. Every time you check to see if your desire is there, you are scientifically confirming that it is not there. This dynamic is based on a real physics principle called the quantum Zeno effect, or the Turing paradox. In physics, it has been proven that if you observe an unstable quantum system continuously and obsessively, the system freezes. It cannot evolve. Constant observation resets the wave function to its initial state. In street language, a watched pot never boils. It's not just an old saying, it's fluid mechanics and thermodynamics. If you lift the lid every 10 seconds, you release the pressure and heat. The water never reaches the boiling point. You are the neurotic cook. Your desire is the water. Your checking is lifting the lid. Binary logic, searching, not having. Let's analyze the source code of the action, to search. The universe is binary in its definitions of state. State 1 having, the object is in your possession. State 0 searching, the object is not in your possession. Nobody searches for their glasses when they are wearing them. Nobody searches for their keys when they are in their hand. Nobody asks, "Do you love me?" when they feel deeply loved. The action of searching is, by definition, the proof of absence. When you behave like a bloodhound sniffing the ground, anxious tracking clues, you are emitting a deafening radio signal to the quantum field that says, "I don't have it." And the quantum field, which is an impartial photocopier, receives the "I don't have it" signal and returns more not having reality to you. It returns more waiting, more silence, more absence. The bloodhound trap is believing that searching brings you closer to the goal, when in reality, the search is the distance. Wave collapse into absence. In the double-slit experiment, the electron behaves as a wave, infinite possibility, until it is observed. You want your desire to collapse from wave to particle, matter, but the type of observation determines the type of particle. If you observe from assumption, "I know it's done," you collapse the presence particle. If you observe from doubt verification, "Is it there, B?" you collapse the absence particle. When you check your bank account with fear, your observation is loaded with the hypothesis, "It's probably not there." Your eyes look for the zero. Your fear expects the failure. Since the observer creates reality, your fear finds the zero. Literally, your anxiety erases the money from the timeline. It could have arrived today, but your anxious verification at 9 a.m. collapsed the version of the universe, where at 10 a.m. the account is still empty. You jinxed the experiment by sticking your hand in the petri dish with fingers dirty with doubt. The taxi metaphor. Imagine you call a taxi or an Uber. The app says, "Driver on the way, 5 minutes." You put the phone in your pocket, you relax. You look at the landscape. You know it's coming. You don't run after every passing car screaming, "Is it you? Is it you?" You don't call the dispatcher every 30 seconds crying, "Is it really coming? I don't see it." You have mechanical certainty. Now imagine you do the opposite. You start running down the street chasing cars, bloodhound. The taxi driver arrives at your pickup point, doesn't see you because you're 3 blocks away looking for signs, waits 2 minutes and leaves. You're left without a taxi. Why? Because you went out to search for it instead of waiting for it at the meeting point. The meeting point with your manifestation is the present. It is the here and now. The bloodhound is never in the here and now. He is always in the there and then future. Your package delivery coordinates are here. If you are mentally there searching, you aren't home to receive the package. The dopamine addiction of the signal. Why is it so hard to stop searching? Because we've become addicted to the microdose of dopamine we get from finding a sign. Seeing 1111 gives you a rush. Good. It's still working. That rush lasts 10 minutes, then it drops. You need another sign. You become a signal junkie. You depend on the external to regulate your internal state. If there are signs, you're happy. If not, you're depressed. You have given your power to the echo. The consciousness engineer does not need signs. The engineer is the sign. His internal state of security is so solid, he doesn't need a license plate to confirm he is rich. He knows he is rich. Certainty does not require external confirmation. Repulsion energy, the stench of desperation. We all know that person desperate for a partner. You can tell from miles away. They smell like a bloodhound. They look at you with eyes that say, "Are you the one? Will you love me?" That energy is nature's most potent repellent. Instinctively, we move away. We feel they want to hunt us to fill a void in themselves. Conversely, the person who is happy with themselves, seeking nothing, is magnetic. Everyone wants to be near them. Why? Because they vibrate in fullness. The same happens with money. Money flees from those who chase it with anxiety. Bloodhound. Money runs toward people busy creating value and enjoying the process. Creator. The Bloodhound Trap is believing that if you stop chasing, you will lose it. The truth is, you can only catch what you stop chasing, because by stopping the chase, you become a stable center of gravity. The detachment protocols and the verification fast. You know that searching is repelling. You know that verifying is doubting. But the habit is strong. Your hands move toward the phone on their own. We need containment. We need to muzzle the bloodhound and tie him to the kennel so he stops scaring away the prey. Protocol 1. The verification fast, the airplane mode rule. You are going to reduce your checks to the vital minimum necessary for logistical survival. Case text message, specific person. Bloodhound behavior, checking the phone every 5 minutes. The protocol, turn off notifications. Put the phone in another room. Establish checking windows. You can only look at your phone at 12 16 and 20 hours. Outside those hours, the phone doesn't exist. Tell yourself, if it's urgent, they'll call. If they don't, my reality is cooking and I mustn't open the oven. Case, money sales. Bloodhound behavior, compulsively refreshing the sales screen. Though the protocol, look at it once a day or once a week. Spend the rest of your time giving value, not counting the harvest. A farmer doesn't dig up potatoes every hour. When you restrict verification, your anxiety spikes the first day, withdrawal, and then plummets. You recover your mind. And curiously, it is in those not-looking periods when messages and money usually arrive. The principle is, the water boils when you turn your back. Protocol 2. The I already saw it technique, false positive. The bloodhound searches because he believes he hasn't seen it yet. We are going to hack the brain into believing the check has already been made and was positive. The practice. You feel the urge to see if your ex texted. Stop. Don't touch the phone. Close your eyes. Vividly imagine looking at the screen and seeing their name with a beautiful message. Feel the relief. Feel the, it's already here. Tell yourself, I've already seen it. It's done in the quantum. I don't need to see it in the physical right now because physical reality is slow. Seeing it inside is enough for me. Go on with your life. By giving yourself that internal satisfaction, you quiet the bloodhound. You give him the imaginary bone. Protocol 3. The not my problem attitude, radical delegation. The bloodhound thinks he's responsible for the desire arriving. He thinks if he stops watching, the universe will forget to deliver. This is a lack of trust in divine logistics. Adopt the CEO attitude. The CEO of Amazon doesn't go down to the warehouse to see if every box is packed. He gives the order, let it be done, and goes to play golf. He trusts his managers, subconscious law, to do their job. The CEO mantra. When the doubt of when or how arises, respond with divine arrogance. That is not my problem. I am the one who orders, the architect. The how and when are problems for the logistics department, the universe. I don't get paid to worry about logistics. I get paid to hold the vision, let them work. This hierarchical superiority over matter is tremendously effective. It takes the weight off your shoulders. Protocol 4. High-frequency occupation distracting the dog. How do you stop a dog from barking? Give it a toy or take it for a run. You cannot leave the mind empty or the bloodhound will return. Distract him with something more interesting than waiting. Find an activity you are passionate about that absorbs you so much you lose track of time, flow. When you are in flow, you stop emitting lack. You become magnetic. Many say, I spent years looking for a partner and found nothing. The day I signed up for salsa classes and forgot to look because I was having so much fun, I met the love of my life. It wasn't the salsa. It was the distraction of the bloodhound. Resistance fell to zero and the manifestation entered. Protocol 5. The done filter. Change your base perception. The bloodhound looks at the world and asks, where is it? The creator looks at the world and says, here it is, even if he doesn't see it. This is controlled hallucination. Walk through your house. Imagine your partner is in the other room. Imagine the new car is in the garage. Don't look for it. Take it for granted. Do you check if you have feet every morning? No. You assume they are there and you walk. Treat your desire like your feet a natural extension of you that requires no surveillance. The test of silence. There will come a moment when the bloodhound gets tired. You will stop feeling the urgency. You will stop looking at license plates. 1111 will stop appearing. You will feel a strange peace, even indifference. You might think, have I lost the desire? No. You have killed the bloodhound. And in that silence, in that absence of searching, in that tranquility of I no longer need to confirm anything, that is when the doorbell rings. That is when the miracle hits you in the face. Because the space your anxiety used to occupy is now empty. And nature abhors a vacuum. The manifestation rushes in to fill it. Chapter 9. Sustaining the void. The art of maintaining faith. When the mirror lies in the denial of sensory evidence. The dictatorship of the senses and the consensual hallucination. You have killed the bloodhound. You have stopped digging the earth. You have sat on the throne of your assumption. But you open your eyes and the throne is a plastic chair. You look around and the palace is a small apartment in need of paint. You check your account and the $1 million is nowhere to be found. This is where the aspiring creator faces their most formidable, ancient and persuasive enemy, their own 5 senses. All your life you have been trained to be a slave to sensory information. Seeing is believing. Be realistic. Look at the facts. From an evolutionary biology standpoint, your senses, sight, hearing, touch, smell, taste, were not designed to reveal the quantum truth to you. They were designed to keep you alive in a hostile environment. Your eyes are programmed to detect predators, not invisible opportunities. Your touch is designed to feel the solid, not the vibrational. Your senses are reporters of the past. They can only inform you of what has already materialized. As we saw in Chapter 1, the theory of the echo, matter is dead starlight. Therefore, when you look at your current reality and say, this is what is, you are making a scientific error. You should say, this is what was. But the illusion is so convincing, so tactile, so HD, that it seduces you. It seduces you into believing that lack is real. And the moment you believe what your eyes see more than what your imagination sees, you fall from the state of grace. You become a reactive creature once again. The concept of sustaining the void. What does it mean to sustain the void? It is the period of time between the internal assumption, I am already rich, and the external manifestation, seeing the money. During this lapse, there is brutal cognitive dissonance. Your mind says, rich. Your eyes say poor. Most people cannot stand this tension. The dissonance generates physical pain. To relieve the pain, they surrender to sensory evidence. Okay, my eyes are right. I am poor. It was a fantasy. In doing so, they collapse the wave into poverty and relieve the tension, but they lose the desire. The consciousness engineer does the opposite. They sustain the tension. They refuse to relieve the dissonance by lowering their standard. They force reality to raise its standard to resolve the tension. Sustaining the void is the ability to walk through the desert of contrary evidence without drinking from the poisoned water of resignation. It is the ability to look at an unpaid bill and not feel a single ounce of fear, because you know it is a printing error in reality that is about to be corrected. The neuroscience of controlled hallucination. Modern neuroscience, Anil Seth Donald Hoffman, tells us something shocking. We do not see reality, we hallucinate reality. Your brain is locked in a dark box, the skull. It sees no light, hears no sound. It only receives electrical impulses. With those impulses, the brain constructs a prediction of what is outside. What you call the real world is a controlled hallucination driven by your expectations. If your deep, subconscious expectation is scarcity, your brain will filter reality to show you only data that confirms scarcity. It will literally make you blind to wealth opportunities. Therefore, trusting your senses is trusting a biased algorithm that seeks to confirm your old prejudices. The work of the Creator is to hack this hallucination. You have to start hallucinating your desire with such strength that your brain has no choice but to project it onto the 3D screen. This requires an act of radical denial. Neville Goddard called it the denial of the evidence of the senses. It is not clinical madness, where you lose functionality. It is quantum sanity, where you choose the cause over the effect. It is looking at a balance in red and saying, my retinal eyes register red numbers. My eye of imagination registers green numbers. Since imagination is the cause and the retina is the effect, I declare that my retina is temporarily outdated. The truth is the green, and you move on with your day. The metaphor of the instrument pilot. Imagine a pilot flying through a thick storm. He sees nothing out the window, only grey clouds and turbulence. Furthermore, his inner ear, vestibular system, is playing tricks on him due to the pressure. It tells him the plane is falling or flying upside down. If the pilot listens to his senses, eyes and balance, he will crash. He will feel he must turn the yoke, and in doing so, he will send the plane into a tailspin. To survive, the pilot must ignore his senses and trust 100% in the flight instruments, altimeter, artificial horizon. The instruments tell him, you are flying straight and level. His senses scream, you are falling. Sustaining the void is flying by instruments. Your instruments are your imagination and your emotion. If your imagination says, I have the desire, you are straight and level. It doesn't matter that the storm of reality, Bill's loneliness, screams that you are going to crash. Don't look out the window. Look at the control panel. Maintain the course based solely on internal data. It is terrifying. It requires a faith of steel, but it is the only way to land at the airport of the fulfilled desire. The price of social sanity. Society will demand that you be realistic. Your friends and family, seeing your current situation, the Echo Hut will tell you, accept reality, stop dreaming, look for a normal job, accept that they left you. They are the spokespeople for the Matrix. They are Agent Smiths trying to pull you back into the program. If you listen to them, you will get their reality. Average, safe, limited. To sustain the void, you have to be willing to look a little crazy or delusional to others and to your own logical intellect. You must have the audacity of divine madness. Steve Jobs walked through his garage and saw a multi-billion-dollar company. His senses saw old boxes. He sustained the void between the garage and Apple. Oprah Winfrey, born into extreme poverty and abuse, saw an influential and wealthy woman. Her senses saw misery. She sustained the void. All the great creators in history were, at some point, deniers of their present reality. They refused to accept today as the final verdict. They treated today as moldable clay, not set cement. The temptation to fix the mirror. When reality shows you something you don't like, e.g., your partner ignores you, the visceral impulse is to act to change it out there, to shout, to cry, to manipulate. That is trying to clean the mirror by rubbing the glass. Sustaining the void means, do not react. You see the negative behavior. It hurts, we are human. But you do not react. You withdraw into the void, your imagination. And there, in the solitude of your mind, you rewrite the scene. There, you are loved. And you stay there until you feel peace. Then you go out into the world and act with indifference or neutrality toward the negative version. You strip it of your attention. You starve it. By not validating the negative reality with your reaction, the wave collapses. The void expands. And in that void, the new version of your partner can enter. Persistence protocols and the double life of the spy. We already know that flying by instruments is the only option. But the storm is loud, and the fear of crashing is visceral. You need field tactics to keep the rudder steady when everything is shaking. You are going to become a double agent. You will live in two worlds simultaneously, but your loyalty will be with only one. Protocol 1. Double accounting, managing scarcity. The biggest challenge is money. It is easy to feel rich while meditating, but hard when the card is declined at the supermarket. Shame and fear pull you out of the state instantly. To sustain the financial void, we will use the double accounting technique. 1. The 3D world, resource management. Here you are an efficient administrator. If you have 50, you spend 50. Do not go into debt pretending to be rich. That generates fear. Pay what you can, negotiate terms, be logical and cold, but do it without emotion. Like someone managing someone else's money. Label scarcity as a temporary flow restriction. 2. The 4D world, the real account. In your mind, you have an unlimited account. Every time you spend 10 in 3D, imagine you are spending 10,000 in 4D. Practice imaginary spending. You are walking down the street. You see something in a shop window. Mentally say, I'll buy that, and that too, and that. Feel the sensation of being able to afford it. Feel the swipe of the card passing without limits. Do not take the physical object, but take the sensation of ownership. By doing this, you do not allow the physical restriction, 3D, to contaminate your abundance vibration, 4D. You tell the universe, physically, I am eating rice, but vibrationally, I am at a banquet. My internal state is abundance. Sustaining this duality without feeling like a fraud is the key. You are not a fraud. You are a millionaire whose money is in a slow transfer, buffer. Protocol 2. The it is not this filter, rejecting offers. The universe will test you. You are manifesting the love of your life. Suddenly your toxic ex returns, or someone appears who you like but doesn't want commitment. Your senses say, this is what there is. Take it or stay alone. Sustaining the void means having the courage to say, it is not this. You look the insufficient reality in the face and you reject it, not with anger, but with superiority. Thank you, universe, for the attempt. But this is not what I asked for. I asked for excellence. This is mediocrity. Take it away. I am still waiting for mine. By rejecting the visible, because it does not match your vision, you create a massive suction vacuum. The universe enters constructive panic. The subject has rejected the standard offer. He is serious. We have to bring him the premium offer. Every time you say no to what your eyes see because it is insufficient, you affirm yes to what your mind sees. Protocol 3. The spy technique, secret life. Imagine you are a multimillionaire spy on an undercover mission. Your mission requires you to dress as a beggar and live in a poor neighborhood for a month. You live in a dirty apartment. You eat cheap food. People treat you poorly. Do you get depressed? Do you feel like a failure? No. Inside you laugh. You think, if they only knew who I really am, if they saw my Swiss account and my private jet. External misery does not touch your internal identity because you know it is a temporary disguise. It is a game, a role. Apply this to your life. Your current situation, job you hate, body you don't like, is your spy disguise. Wear it. Walk through the world disguised. But keep your secret identity, Avatar 2.0, intact under the dirty clothes. When someone treats you poorly, think, they don't know who they are talking to. I am the creator in disguise. What a great performance mine is. This playful dissociation allows you to walk through hell without getting burned. Protocol 4. Sensory fasting, closing your eyes. If reality is too painful and visually overwhelming, turn it off, literally. Neville Goddard recommended the practice of immobility. Sit in a chair. Close your eyes. Put in earplugs or play white noise. Eliminate sensory input. In that darkness, 3D reality ceases to exist. You are no longer poor. You are no longer alone. You are pure consciousness floating in the void. In that space, invoke your desire. Feel it. Touch it with your imaginary hands. Smell your partner's perfume. Touch the steering wheel of your car. Make it so real that when you open your eyes, you feel surprised to be in your old room. That shock, "Where did my mansion go?" is the best possible sign. It means 4D has become more real than 3D. Do this virtual reality bath every time the outside world overwhelms you. It is your nuclear bunker. Recharge there and go outside only to manage logistics, not to live. The threshold of surrender, the breaking point. Sustaining the void has a limit. You cannot hold the tension forever. There will come a moment after much persistence when you feel like you are breaking. You will feel, "I can't take it anymore. I don't care if it comes or not. I am tired of fighting." But it will not be a fatigue of defeat. It will be a fatigue of surrender. You will stop trying to make it happen, and you will simply accept, "I am this. If the world doesn't reflect it, too bad for the world. I am staying here." That is the moment when you release the effort, but maintain the identity. You move from chasing the desire to being the desire. And in that precise instant of surrender, the mirror breaks. The tension accumulated in the void explodes, and reality changes all at once. It usually happens when you least expect it, when you had already stopped checking the clock. The void is filled. Chapter 10. The State of the Sabbat. The Technology of Rest, the Death of the Warrior and the End of the Search. The Crisis of Peace and the Physiology of Certainty. You have traversed the desert. You have survived the demolition of your old life. You have learned to look at the echo without blinking. And now you arrive at the gates of the Promised Land. But the gates are not padlocked. There are no guards. There is no moat with crocodiles. The gates are wide open, and inside there is silence. There are no fireworks. There is no orchestra playing your victory song. There is only a deep, golden, static calm. This is the state of the Sabbat. And for the consciousness engineer who has spent years fighting, visualizing, and striving, this place is, paradoxically, the most terrifying of all. In ancient mysticism and Kabbalah, the Sabbat, the seventh day, is the moment when the divinity rests. But it is not a rest due to fatigue. God has no muscles to exhaust it, is a rest of conclusion. And God saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was very good. And he rested. Rest is the signature of the finished work. You do not keep laying bricks on a house that already has its roof on. If you do, you are a vandal of your own creation. The Sabbat is the state of consciousness where you move from the construction frequency to the occupation frequency. It is the moment the software has been compiled, the code is bug-free and the program is ready to run. The addiction to the warrior and the phantom limb. The first obstacle you will encounter upon entering the Sabbat is a brutal identity crisis. For years you have defined yourself by your struggle. You have called yourself a light warrior, a seeker, a fighter, a survivor. Your nervous system is addicted to the adrenaline of battle. Your brain is wired to solve problems. Your ego feels valuable only when it is overcoming obstacles. What happens to a soldier who has been in the trenches for 20 years when suddenly peace is declared? He doesn't know what to do. He feels anxiety. He feels redundant. His body trembles searching for his rifle, but there are no more enemies. This is what you will feel entering the Sabbat, the pain of the phantom limb of struggle. Your mind will desperately search for a problem. It will scan the horizon for a threat, a debt, a conflict, something to fix. And finding nothing, because your assumption has already cleared the field, the ego will panic. It will scream, "We are too still. Something bad is going to happen, the calm before the storm." The ego will try to sabotage your peace by creating an artificial drama just to feel useful again. Your first task in the Sabbat is to kill the warrior. You must tell that part of yourself, "Thank you for your service. You kept us alive in the jungle, but we are no longer in the jungle. We are in the palace. Lay down your arms. Your job now is to enjoy the banquet. You must learn to tolerate well-being without being suspicious of it." The technical difference between resignation and Sabbat. From the outside, the Sabbat looks very much like surrender or apathy. An external observer sees that you no longer do techniques. You no longer talk about your desire, that you are passive. They might think, they've given up. They've accepted their fate. But vibrationally, resignation and Sabbat are polar opposites. Resignation, low frequency. O premise, I'm not going to get it, so I'll stop trying so I don't suffer anymore. To emotion, sadness, heaviness, bitterness, defeat, anesthesia. O state of desire, dead buried. O result, stagnation and repetition of the cycle. Sabbat, high neutral frequency. O premise, I already have it, so I'll stop trying because it's absurd to strive for what is already mine. To emotion, relief, cold certainty, naturalness, light peace. Ho state of desire, alive, fulfilled. O result, imminent manifestation. You must self-audit with surgical honesty. Have you stopped visualizing because you think it doesn't work? Resignation. Or have you stopped because you feel it is redundant, like calling someone on the phone who is sitting right next to you? Sabbat. The key is the absence of thirst. In resignation, you are thirsty but decide not to drink. In the Sabbat, you don't drink because you are already hydrated. The physiology of certainty. The of course effect. How does absolute certainty feel in the body? It doesn't feel like euphoria. Euphoria is unstable. It is the peak of a wave that must break. Certainty feels like gravity. It feels like the ground beneath your feet. Neville Goddard called it naturalness. I call it the of course effect. If someone asks you, do you have 2 arms? You don't jump for joy screaming, yes, it's incredible, I have 2 arms, thank you, universe. You respond with bored calm, of course, and you move on with your life. That of course is the highest possible vibration. It is the vibration of integrated normalcy. The universe can only stably manifest what you consider normal. As long as your desire, the $1 million, the ideal partner, seems like an incredible miracle, you keep it on a pedestal, far away from you. The Sabbat is the process of normalizing the miracle. It is taking the desire off the pedestal and putting it on the kitchen table. It is reaching the point where being wealthy feels as natural, as obvious, and as boring as having arms. When you reach that level of divine boredom, physical reality has no barrier to deliver it. Resistance is zero. The temptation to help God. During the Sabbat, the most dangerous temptation is to return to the techniques. The ego tells you, you haven't visualized in 3 days. It's going to get cold. Let's do an intensive scripting session just in case. If you yield to that temptation, you abort the Sabbat. It is like opening the oven to see if the cake has risen. The blast of cold air sinks it. Returning to techniques out of fear of losing momentum is a declaration of doubt. If I have to visualize it to keep it, I don't have it. The Sabbat requires a discipline of non-action. It requires you to go to bed, and instead of doing your usual visualization, simply say, "Thank you, Father. How good it feels to have it," and fall asleep. It is the arrogant confidence of one who knows their package is not lost in the mail. Navigating the void and the silence of the matrix. You have entered the rest. You have killed the warrior. Now you face the environment, and the environment in the Sabbat behaves in a very peculiar way. It turns off. The silence of the glitches. In Chapter 7, we talked about synchronicities, 1111 signs. Those were the navigation beacons during the approach, but when you enter the Sabbat, the signs usually stop. Radio silence. You no longer see repeating numbers. You no longer see feathers. The reality becomes dense every day and extremely realistic. The beginner gets scared. I've disconnected. I've lost the alignment. The master celebrates. He knows this silence is the calm before the storm. He knows that when a program installer reaches 99%, the progress bar often freezes for a few seconds before finishing. The hard drive is writing the final files. Silence means gestation is over. The wave is collapsing into a particle. The universe stops sending trailers of the movie because the movie is about to start. Do not ask for signs in the Sabbat. Enjoy the silence. The anxiety of the productive void. The Sabbat releases a huge amount of psychic energy. Before, you spent 80% of your mental CPU on desiring, worrying, and managing anxiety. Now, suddenly, that 80% of RAM is free. You feel empty. You feel bored. This is the fertile void, but the ego interprets it as existential vacuum. It will push you to fill it with trash, social media, drama, old problems. Do not allow it. Protect your void as if it were gold. Use that free energy to live the present with an intensity you never had before. Savor the coffee. Look at the trees. Tell the universe, I'm so sure my desire is done that I'm going to take a vacation from spirituality. I'm going to be human for a while. That attitude of playful unconcern is the fastest lubricant for materialization. The final attack of the echo, the test of faith. Just before dawn, the night is darkest. It is almost inevitable that in the middle of your Sabbat, the old reality launches a final kamikaze attack. You are calm, and suddenly, the bathroom pipe bursts and costs a fortune. You are calm, and your specific person blocks you. This is the final exam. The universe looks you in the eye and asks, you say you believe, you say it's yours, what if I do this, do you move? If you react with fear, you fail. The master in Sabbat looks at the disaster and does not blink. He doesn't deny the physical fact, but he denies the implied meaning. He says, this broken pipe doesn't mean I'm poor. It's just a mechanical event. It has no power to cancel my wealth. He keeps the identity intact, despite contrary sensory evidence. This capacity to remain impassive before the final chaos is the master key, the double life of the spy in Sabbat. During this phase, you literally live in two worlds. On the outside, you are a normal person who perhaps has visible problems. Inside, you are a king-queen on their throne. Maintaining this cognitive dissonance without going crazy is the supreme art. You must be a method actor who never breaks character, even when the set is falling apart. Do not tell anyone your internal truth. How are you? They ask. Great, everything is wonderful, you reply with an enigmatic smile. They see your old car. You feel your Ferrari. Your secret is your source of power. Part 3. The materialization, the impact, and the final leap. And then, it happens. On any given Tuesday, while you were brushing your teeth, or while you were busy working on something else. No trumpets, no warnings. The phone rings, the mail arrives, the buffer ends, the wave collapses, the desire becomes flesh, the Sabbat ends, and life begins. The anticlimax and the confirmation of naturalness. When the desire manifests, your reaction is not to scream with joy and faint. Your reaction is usually, of course, it had to be this way. You feel a strange calm. You might even feel a bit disappointed by the lack of emotional fireworks. Why? Because you have lived it so many times in your imagination, you have made it so natural in your Sabbat, that to your brain this is a memory, not a novelty. This lack of hysteria is the proof you did it right. If you went crazy with emotion, it would mean that deep down you didn't believe it. By receiving it with naturalness, you anchor it. You tell the system, this is not a lucky spike, this is my base level. Managing success. Do not break the glass. At the moment of materialization, your ego will want to run out and tell everyone to validate itself. Look at me, I did it. Beware. That energy of proving to others is energy of lack. It can crack the glass of your new reality. Enjoy your manifestation. Use it, touch it, but keep your center. Do not give power to the object. The power is still yours. The money doesn't make you powerful. You made the money powerful. Stay sovereign. The side effect, manifestation amnesia. A curious phenomenon will occur weeks after manifesting. You will forget that you manifested it. You will start thinking, well, it would have happened anyway. It was a logical coincidence. I worked hard for it. Your rational brain will try to rewrite history to fit the miracle into materialistic logic. This is why I asked you to keep a logbook. Read it. Remember where you were. Do not let your logic steal your magic. If you forget you created it, you will fall asleep again. You will be victim 1.0 once more. Stay awake. The aftermath. Now what? Once the initial rush passes, you will feel a new void. I have the money, I have the love. Now what? The human being is a desiring machine. We are not designed to stagnate. The Sabbat ends for one desire, but the wheel of life keeps turning. You need a new purpose. But this time it won't be born of necessity, I need to survive, but of expansion. I want to experience more. Your next desire will be higher, bolder. The process is the same, but you are no longer the same. You are a master of mechanics. You are no longer afraid of time, you know how to play. Conclusion: the mastery of silence and the Creator's certainty. We have reached the threshold where intellectual knowledge must surrender to experiential living. Throughout this journey, we have dissected the architecture of reality, not as a solid and immovable territory, but as a fluid interface, a delayed response mechanism that obeys laws precise yet invisible to the untrained eye. As we close this learning cycle, it is vital that you understand you are no longer the same passive observer who began this trip. You now possess the blueprints of the machinery. You know that what your eyes perceive at this instant is not the ultimate truth, but simply a report of your past activities, an echo resonating in the canyon of time, bringing back the frequencies you emitted yesterday, last month, or years ago. The fundamental understanding you must carry with you is the illusory nature of the immediate present. We have established that living by reacting to current circumstances is living trapped in an obsolete feedback loop, similar to navigating by the light of a star that has already died. The physical world, with all its density, its bills, its diagnoses, and its crises, is nothing more than the historical residue of your old consciousness. Understanding this grants you supreme freedom, the ability to dissociate from the drama. When the environment screams lack, fear, or limitation at you, you now have the authority not to scream back, thus breaking the cycle of the echo's perpetuation. This indifference is not apathy. It is the strategy of an engineer who knows that one cannot fix the projection by touching the screen, but by changing the film in the projector. However, the real challenge begins now, in the liminal space we have termed the buffer or loading time. Mastery is not demonstrated when manifestation is instantaneous, but in the elegance with which you navigate the apparent silence of the matrix. You have learned that this delay, this time lag, is not a denial of your desire, but the necessary gestation period for energy to condense into matter. The most insidious trap you will face from today onward is the temptation to cancel the order through doubt and impatience. Remember the logistical metaphor. Doubting because you do not see the package at your door instantly is the most efficient way to reset the clock and sabotage your own creation. Your task is to sustain an active patience, a mechanical and unshakable certainty that reality is reconfiguring itself behind the scenes. In this process of reconfiguration, you will likely find yourself walking upon what we have called the bridge of incidents, a series of events that, to the eyes of the profane, might look like chaos, crisis, or disaster. But you no longer have the luxury of naive interpretation. You now know that the demolition of the old is an indispensable requirement for the construction of the new. If your life seems to fall apart, if relationships end or jobs change, it is not a sign that you have failed. It is the confirmation that reality is losing its rigidity to accommodate the new version of yourself that you have designed. Walking through this fire without getting burned requires you to maintain the attitude of one observing special effects in a movie. With awe, but without identifying with the danger, knowing it is a necessary transit toward your destiny. This internal transformation will inevitably alter your interaction with others. By understanding that the people in your reality act as mirrors or extras reflecting your own state of consciousness, you stop being a victim of others' attitudes. You no longer need to fight, convince, or manipulate anyone on the outside. True diplomacy occurs in your internal conversation. If you wish to change the dynamic with someone, you must first change the script you have written for them in your mind. This is the radical responsibility of the Creator, accepting that every external conflict is an externalization of an internal conflict, and that, by healing your own perception, the environment, by a law of magnetic homeostasis, must adjust or disappear. To navigate this transition, the most sophisticated tool you possess is the capacity for inspired action, the art of Wu-Wei. Forget the agonizing effort, the struggle based on fear, and the brute force that characterizes the old paradigm of survival. Your new mode of operation is sailing, waiting for the green light of intuition and moving only when the impulse is of certainty and flow, not anxiety. Forced action confirms lack. Inspired action confirms possession. Stop rowing against the current and allow the intelligence of the quantum field to organize the hows, while you stay firm in the what. But perhaps the highest test of your spiritual sovereignty will be your ability to deny the evidence of your senses. We live in a dictatorship of the sensory, where we have been taught that seeing is believing is the only valid logic. You are here to invert that equation. Believing is seeing. There will be days when the mirror shows you a reality that violently contradicts your desire. In those moments, you must apply the reality diet, withdrawing your attention and your validation from the current facts. You must learn to trust your imagination more than your eyes, understanding that imagination is the true substance of reality, and that the physical is simply its hardened shadow. Do not search for signs obsessively, for the constant search implies the absence of the desired object. Behaving like an anxious bloodhound only collapses the wave function into lack. The final destination of this state of consciousness is what we have defined as the Sabbat, the Creator's rest. This is not a physical rest, but a psychological state of deep peace and indifference to the result. You will know you have succeeded in your internal work, not when the object appears in your hands, but when the desire to have it disappears from your mind, replaced by the natural feeling that it is already yours. In the state of the Sabbat, there are no longer techniques to perform, no affirmations to repeat, nor forced visualizations. There is only the tranquility of knowing that gestation is complete and birth is inevitable. It is the point where the desired identity feels as natural as your own skin. As we close this stage, I invite you to contemplate your reality not as something that happens to you, but as something that happens through you. You have ceased to be a simple receiver of signals to become the emitter of the frequency. You have learned to tune your cardiac Wi-Fi, emitting magnetism instead of just mental electricity, coherence instead of chaos. The impossible coincidences and glitches in the matrix that you will begin to see are not external miracles. They are winks of your own power, confirmations that the reality server is rendering your new world. This is not the end of your evolution, but the graduation from the school of linear causality. What awaits you beyond this understanding is even vaster, the transcendence of time and space, operating from an omnipotence that knows no limits. But to get there, you must first master this mechanics of the echo. You must prove to yourself in the laboratory of your daily life that you are capable of sustaining the vision in the face of contradiction, of loving in the face of fear, and of trusting the invisible in the face of the visible. The manual for the interface has been delivered. The codes have been revealed. Now silence returns, but it is a silence charged with potential. The next time you open your eyes to your world, do not see objects, see processes. Do not see people, see states of consciousness. Do not see problems, see restructurings. You are the operant, the projector, and the screen. The transmission has ended. The manifestation has begun. Welcome to your new life.